What's up? What's up? What's going on, family? Position the mic. Peace and shalom. What's going on? What's going on? I'll give a second for everybody to join in. Right. What's this up? All right. That looks crazy, man. Shalom, shalom. What's going on, family? Just gonna give another moment. Shout out to Joe Nuff in the building. Theo 9 says Shalom Canada in the building. Theo, what part of Canada you in? Let me know. Shout out to Eliyahu, Yem Yahu, Shalom. Raphael, Shalom, Shalom. Adam Real, what's going on? Quincy White, Katriya, Yisrael, Vincent Lemons, what's going on, family? Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you share this video. All right, we're about to get started shortly. Just putting the word out real quick. All right, putting the word out. All right, let's see. Man, the thumbnail looks crazy. Sometimes they be picking the worst thumbnails, man, to put with videos. It's crazy. All right, we're going to end off September. We got about 17 more minutes before September is officially over. I know there's some of y'all out there that are keeping Yom Kippur. All right, so want to say happy feast day to y'all. Drop this in here. You know, this Friday, the 2nd is our trumpets. For those that keep the pre-Israelite metallurgical sacerdotal model calendar, whatever, the KHM calendar, I'll just say it like that. We'll have our trumpets this upcoming Friday night, Friday evening. We'll be blowing our trumpets. And like I said, those of you who are already keeping it, doing your Yom Kippur, some of y'all, I think some of y'all are doing starting Sukkot this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, I think a lot of people are doing Sukkot this weekend. So for the most part, sometimes it's like a 2-week difference because some people use the conjunction moon to the FVC period of time, which was like Friday to Sunday, to start their Rosh Hashanah. And then some people are doing the Yom Teruah during that period of time as well. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Freddie Jackson, my brother Abiyah inside the nation. What's going on? Slowful the God. What's going on? You said you're in Ottawa. Okay, cool. What part? Because I mean, my interest is only in 2 major cities, right, in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver. That's it. Like, I'm not really interested in visiting anywhere else unless I learn about it. I mean, I was learning a lot of history. What was this? Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago about Canada. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, my sights are always set on Toronto and Vancouver. You know, I really don't have an interest anywhere else unless the part of where you're at, Theo 9, is popping. If it is, let me know. And I may consider it and put it on the international list when all these restrictions is over, and things are starting to recover internationally. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, put me on. Let me know what's going on in your side of town, my brother. It was always somebody new. I actually had somebody hit me up. 2 people hit me up the other day from outside of Toronto in Canada, and they was asking for KHM to come out there and set up a chapter. So I told them that we'll keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem with that. All right. So I got some information tonight that I'm going to go in with y'all. First, I give y'all updates and everything like that. And a lot of these references that I'm going to show y'all is already on the Patreon. However, there's some that are not on the Patreon, and I will be adding it to the Patreon after this session is over. Okay, so those of you can go back to the books for reference. If you're not part of the Patreon, it's okay. If you're interested in any of the books, just email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll shoot the book over to you so you can read it and get access to it. And those of you who are part of the Patreon, you guys are able to access the link where you get all the books that I add continuously or weekly to the library. All right. All right. So give me a second. Give me a second. All right. I don't know if any of our DMV family is in the building, but I'm going to get in on that in a minute. Okay. I think we should be good. All right. All right, let's get this show on the road. Okay. Shout out to Servant of Yah in the building. He said things are going back to normal. That's the way it looks, but we'll see. I'm hearing mixed, reviews in regards to what's going on currently in regards to legislation and regulations concerning COVID-19 international travel. So I'm not sure, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he says 5 hours east of Toronto. All right, cool. No doubt. I'll keep that in mind, Theo. Now, I didn't even know we had people there. You know what I'm saying? But it looks like we're everywhere, and then that's what I like about the internet and social media. It makes the world much smaller. However, you still need to, do face-to-face interactions with the people. So, with the advent of, air travel and so forth, it makes the world even much more smaller and easier for travel. And times past, it would be much more difficult to get to certain places. You know what I'm saying? And it would definitely take more time. All right. Shout out to Sister Gail in the building from Remarkable Ministries. We'll give them a shout out in 1 second. Shout out to my brother Eli E in the building. So right there, Sister Gail and brother Emmanuel in the building from DMV. We had a great time. Shout out to Mikhail Benah Yasharal in the building. What's going on? Sister Millie Love. What's going on, sis? Inalienable Right says Ottawa is the capital of Canada. Okay. Thank you for the heads up on that. Let's see. Shout out to Lucky Lou. All right. So let me go over real quick what transpired this weekend. So on Friday, I landed into Washington, D.C. And shout out for Sister Ford's Glory 2419 in the building. What's going on? So I flew into Washington, D.C. And my brother O'Shea from Houston, man. No doubt, family. So let's keep the brother in prayer, man. The brother said that he's in a hospital and he got some stuff going on. So we got you, fam. We're going to let you up in prayer, man. And I'm sending you some encouragement in your way. Okay, so hang in there. It's not much I can suggest to you, while you're in the hospital. But when they discharge you, let me know. And I'll give you some recommendations to help to repair any kind of lung damage, to get you back in better health. All right, my brother. All right. Shout out to Red Jazz Flow. What's going on? Donnell Jones. What's up? Servant of Yah. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that. So we touched down to DC, and I had Sister Gail and Brother David of Remarkable Ministries, who's also part of KHM. They came out and picked me up and brought me to the hotel. And then after I settled in, we hit the streets. My brother Big Main was there too, and a couple other brothers was there with us. And we would write to Black Lives Matter Plaza, Black Lives Matter Square, whatever you want to call it. It's right next to the church that Trump was in front of when he was holding up that Bible and did the photo op. You know what I'm saying? So we was right over there, and they had this gate that's right in front of the park. And then you have all of these faces plastered on there from individuals who were killed due to police brutality. And we did a video there. We shot the video, and the video will be up in its fullness on Patreon soon. So keep an eye on that to those of you who are part of Patreon. But we will have a trailer put up with a lot of the behind the scenes footage that we have. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. Step away for a second. So when we went there, we saw all the faces that was plastered on the gate, and we did a video. Like I said, if you're on the Patreon, the video will be up soon, but we're creating a trailer that's going to have snippets of a lot of the behind the scenes footage of everything that went down when we was out there. Where we went, Black Lives Matter Plaza, there wasn't really a lot of people out there. We was trying to interact with people. However, there was this prayer march event, and then Prophet Khan was down there with people that was coming out. TBM was down there. They had this Christian concert out there. On Saturday, they had this march that they were doing. And they had like a conference. So it was a lot of stuff going on there. There was like these Christian conference that was out there. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to, bump into those individuals and have a build, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, it didn't transpire that way, but it was all good. You know what I'm saying? And then Saturday, we had our event. And again, you'll be able to see the video and the trailer. And then the behind the scenes footage will be on Patreon. For those of you who are part of Patreon, you'll be able to see everything in its totality. But the trailer will have enough of the stuff up for you guys to take a look at, right? So Friday, we went there, and I went through the actual pictures on the gate, and I kind of did a video on that. And then we went into the park, going towards where Washington, D.C., where the White House was at. And we shot a video there in the park as well. And then you had the event on Saturday, which was great. It was a pretty decent turnout. I appreciate everybody that came out to the event in DMV. I did put up the video in regards to the event presentation that we did in DC, just like I put it up for Dallas and Orlando. So you guys can go back to the previous two videos and check it out. I also did a small seminar, if you want to call it that, or lecture, whatever you want to call it, on our Jubilee Main Mission and our National Path to Eden services that we offer, as well as our affiliate and our consultant program, and pretty much gave free game, right? So I pretty much, if you go back and check out the video right before this one that's on this channel, I go into, how the credit repair system works. And then I go into, reference guides in regards to naturopathic health consultation. And if you go into the description, I give you everything you need. So that way you can, respond to any third-party bill collectors, knowing your rights, knowing how to draft the letter, etc. And then in the second part, of the description, I talked about the health guides, and I gave the links to them that you can go grab from Amazon. And again, everything you need is in that description box. You know what I'm saying? So you can go watch the video, you can go check out the description box, and pretty much you'll get an understanding of, generally how we work. You know what I'm saying? So I gave out a lot of free games. So if anybody out there that's concerned in regards to health and want to take the naturopathic route to restoration and wellness, you can go check out that video and then click on the 3 links from Amazon there and download the reference guides that'll give you all the information you need. And then those of you who are concerned about debt elimination, credit repair, go watch the video and go into the description, and the links are there. Everything you need is there. That breaks down everything that I talked about in the video with references. So I gave out free game, right? So I know people who, use these or create services around these, typically try to, keep this stuff close to the chest, and I just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? So go back, check out the video, look in the description for the links, man, and everything is there. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much everything is there. All right. Shout out to my brother, Coach Vaughn Park in the building. What's going on? Strong Island, keep it a buck. Brother David, what's going on? What's going on? Thank you all for praying for my brother, O'Shea. O'Shea. Yah willing, you'll be out soon, you know what I'm saying, and back on these streets putting in this work, my brother. All right. Shout out to Otis Miller in the building. What's going on? Jessica Armstead, shalom, sis. Most High in Christ bless. Shalom to you as well. Gathering of Israelite Nation, Netherlands in the building. What's going on, my brother? Ara, Daria Wesh, Yashakar, what's going on? DB, what's up? What's up? Sharon Hammonds, what's going on? She said, do you observe Yom Kippur? Also, in this land of captivity, I find it hard to do so as I'm still learning about them, the other feast days as well. Just wanting your thoughts and guidance. All right. So, Sister Shannon, that's an excellent question. Before I answer the question, what I'm first going to say is that if you go to the playlist, there's a playlist that I have on here. Matter of fact, I'll drop it in the chat for you. It's a playlist that I have on here that goes into the feast days, okay, in depth. All right, so let me go ahead and see if I can find that for you. Here it is. All right, so just check out the link that I'm dropping in the chat right now. This link has several videos in it that you can click on, and it gives you more in-depth information in regards to the feast days. So please, sis, if you have time, check it out. You can watch it in bits and pieces until you capture everything, and it'll give you everything you need to know about it. Also, I recommended several books on this channel in regards to the calendar. If you're part of the Patreon, sis, you can check it out for free. If not, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll be able to send you over those books that you can go ahead and read. That'll give you great reference points so you can follow along what I'm saying in the lecture. Okay. But as far as Yom Kippur, because there is no physical high priest, we keep it as a memorial, right? Some people also syncretize it in regards to the work of Yeshua and the heavenly sanctuary, in regards to the order of Melchizedek, being a high priest after the order of Melchizedek and performing the work up there on behalf of the children of Israel that are in covenant with the order of Melchizedek. So some people keep it in regards to that. Some people keep it in regards to being a memorial and in alignment with what the work that the high priest has done. And that now the Most High, we can directly get to him and he can, pretty much, exonerate us and atone for our sins on his behalf, on our behalf. You know what I'm saying? So because there's no temple, we keep it as a memorial. So that's why most people do it, because there's no high priest situated anymore performing this work. So this depends on which side of the coin you are. If you subscribe to Brit Hadashah, then you do it in memorial of times past with the forefathers in the wilderness and in the land of Israel, as well as you do it in regards to Yeshua, Bar Yosef, and the work that he's performing in the heavenly sanctuary on behalf of those who are in covenant with the order of Melchizedek. You know what I'm saying? And then if you don't subscribe to the Brit Hadashah, then you do it as a memorial in regards to being in acquiescence of the work that was performed by the forefathers in the past by way of the high priest. We keep it as a memorial today because we know that finally when the Most High comes and intervenes in, in these world affairs, he's going to redeem the children of Israel. And through our redemption, we'll have our final atonement from this fleshly life. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's multifaceted, but again, it's kept as a memorial. And these are the things that you ponder on while you're keeping it. Now, the text says to afflict your souls. I discussed this, and I think the last live stream or the live stream before that, I think it's probably the last live stream. And I said that is something that is implicit. So to make it explicit or to find out how to carry that out, you'd have to apply a form of halakha. And I'm saying that the afflicting of souls was left general because it was, it referred to different things or related differently to different groups of people within that community. Because we have a Hebrew word for fast. I went over that Zoom, the word for fast. And that's not the word that's used there. It's afflict your souls in regards to humbling yourself, humbling your passions, right? So that way you have a clear mind and you have a clear heart. You know what I'm saying? Your leb is clear in regards to the atoning work that the Most High allowed to be performed on our behalf. You know what I'm saying? To receive us. You know what I'm saying? So, it's up to y'all how you want to perform that. And again, I went ahead and broke that down. You can go back and check out the link that I put in the chat. And it goes more in detail in regards to the feast days, in regards also to the importance of Yom Kippur, right? But these things are still good to keep as a memorial. I brought up Devarim chapter 30, verses 1 to 4 and verse 11, where it says that, we're going to, based on the blessing and the curse, that we're going to be scattered. And the Most High expects us to awaken in our scattered state and return back to the statute, laws, commandments. And therefore, we and our children shall live. And then he'll also redeem us and place us back into the land. So there's an expectation for us to keep these statute, laws, and commandments, or our cultural mandates, as I like to call them, in captivity, because now it's not the law, because it is this theocratic society that was established by the Most High and the children of Israel is no longer in existence, right? So these things become cultural mandates in the diaspora. They're no longer the law. They're cultural mandates in the diaspora, right? It's only law, quote unquote, when it's established in the land. Outside the land, it's cultural mandates, okay? So don't get into riffraffs with people that says, oh, you keep the law. Just break it down. Say, look, these are cultural mandates that we are keeping in the diaspora, because the Most High said that if we remember him in our scattered state, that he will receive us if we get back into covenant with him by keeping the statute, laws, and commandments, and us and our children shall live, and then we shall return back to the land when the time comes. This is why we do it. This is why we're faithful to that covenant, okay? Because we want to fall back under the jurisdiction of the Most High Yah, so we can have those boundaries of protection and provision even behind enemy lines, all right? This gives us enough breathing room, and so it's our time of redemption. All right. Somebody asked me if I saw the debate between Biden and Trump. I sure did. And it was a circus. I didn't care about it. It was nothing important there, nothing relevant to me and my community. I tell people put more emphasis on local and state elections, right? And if you're black, your vote does count, but you have to learn voting tactics. Okay. We don't know how to vote tactically. All right. I did a whole video breaking down how to vote tactically, how to use voting tactics, so that way collectively your voice can be heard. And this is why our voices are not heard, because we don't know how to create leverage by means of voting tactics in order for us to get the things that we want from local or state government. Also, in the lecture that I did 2 weeks ago at the Foundational Black American Conference, those of you who have the Patreon has seen it, and it'll be out publicly much later on so everybody can watch it. I talked about the home rule, right? The Dillon room and a home rule. And I said, look, check to see if your state is a home rule state. If not, then you need to support candidates that are going into Congress that will push for legislation from the state constitution and state legislation to incorporate the home rule that allows a degree of autonomy with local governments. And this way you can enact your municipal corporations, and then you and your community can take over that part of your city or town or county. All right. There's ways in which that can be done. We do this because it gives us breathing room. All right. So we can join in these blessings, and the Most High said that we will get, and that we can also seek the peace of the city and seek it on Yah's behalf. For in this peace, we shall have peace. That's instruction that what Israelites are supposed to do while in captivity. And this is the same thing we need to keep today. All right. All right. So shout out to my brother Get Wise in the building. What's going on? Let me see. Daweed Ben Israel. What's going on? Benjamin Dyer Wolf Gen 4927. What's going on? My brother Stacks 2296 in the building. What's going on? Truth Seeker What's going on, family, man? Thank you for joining in, man. Thank you for joining. Again, hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're brand new. Share this video everywhere, family. Shout out to Katriya Israel. I think I said what's up to you already, but it's all good. He says that playlist like is something else other than the feast. What? Hold on. Let me get it again. Now that is the right playlist. That is the right play. It's the pre-exilic Israelite sacerdotal menological model that has to do with the feast days in the calendar. Yeah, that's the right one, my brother. All right, the feast days in the calendar. All right, check it out. All right. Also, so Saturday was very productive. I went and did an interview with my brother Emmanuel. He's there in the chat. Ile E in the building from the Igala tribe. And it's crazy because I think it was a year ago when I talked about the Igala tribe in Lokoja. Me and my brother was building on that a little bit, and how the migration south from Lokoja is what is believed to have sparked the Bantu migrations, right? And it's also explain the origins of the Igbo, the Yoruba, and the other African tribes along the coast of the Bada Biafra. You know what I'm saying? The Ibibio and all of them are supposed to have come from this lineage of peoples that came from the Agala kingdom, or the Agala area where Lokoja is at, which is where the confluence of the Benue and the Niger rivers are at. You know what I'm saying? Sister Janae M says, how do we purchase the calendar? Email assist. The email is scrolling around. It's about to come up shortly. Just give it a second. It's right there. All right. Shoot the email there, a request, and we'll tell you how you can acquire the calendar, sis. All right. It's an excellent calendar. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up on the screen real quick for y'all so you can check it out. And then I'm gonna go a little further because I got some stuff I want to share with y'all today in regards to culture. All right. So let me go ahead and show you this part of the calendar so you guys can take a look at it. And if you're still interested, the calendar is still available. And like I said, after Bull, which is November, the calendar will no longer be available. Okay. So get it while you can. All right. Get it while you can. All right. So let me go ahead and show this to you guys. Let me bring it up on the screen. All right, here's the calendar. As you can see, we have our trumpeters here. All right, trumpeters blowing trumpets at the sighting of the Ethanim moon. All right, and 1 Kings chapter 6. Let me bring up 1 Kings chapter 6 so I can read this for y'all. 6 and 38. Also, family, let me know if there's any issues with the video and audio. Let me know if there's any video audio issues, okay? All right, so 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 38 says, U bas sana ha'achat esre be yerach bul hu ha'chodesh ha'semini kala ha'bayit lekal debara u lekal mispata wayib nehu seba sanim. Keyword there is the word bull, but it's be yerach bull. In month of Bull. But that word there for month is the word moon. Yerach is moon. Yerach is moon. So in the moon Bull, it says that is Hu HaHodesh. That is the month, 8th, Ha-Semini Kala. So it's the 8th month. The 8th month was finished the house and all its details according to all its plans. So he was building it in 7 years, it said, right? So it took about 7 years to complete the temple. And also it said here that in the 8th month, the month of Bull, which is the 8th month. So Bull is the 8th month. That's the final month. That's the month after Ethanim. And it's the moon. That's why I showed you is they're blowing the Ethanim, the trumpets for the Ethanim moon. Okay. Now, if we go to 6 and 37 is where we get the Ziv, right? Where it says Be Yerach Ziv, in month of Ziv, which is the verse right before it, right? So that's why you see what you see there on the screen. The trumpeters are blowing. All right. They have the fire for artificial light at night while they're blowing the trumpets. All right. And let me zoom into this a little bit more. All right. And this here is our calendar. All right. As you can see, October 2nd, right? Well, the trumpets is blown the 1st, the evening of Thursday, excuse me, which is tomorrow, actually evening, which leads into the day period that is the Feast of Trumpets, or the civil Rosh Hashanah, the civil. What we call Rosh Hashanah, the first or the head of the year, is referring to the civil calendar. That's why Jews keep it for the civil calendar. We keep it according to the sacerdotal calendar, or the priestly calendar, which is the 1st of Aviv. Okay. So that's the civil calendar. And I gave you a reference for that, right? A material cultural reference by means of the artifact that's called the Gezer calendar, right? The Gezer calendar talks about the late summer harvest, fruits, late summer harvest. And that late summer ties into the 7th month, right? The late summer is the 6th, 7th month. All right. Before we get to the winter season, which is going into Bull. Okay. All right. Which is like maybe after the last feast days, or the 8th day of Tabernacles or Sukkot. After that is when we start to have the torrential rains and the coldness of the wintry season. All right. And I'm going to show you a book reference of that too, to kind of explain that too, because again, we got to get you into the culture, right? So that's the purpose of what this calendar is designed to do. It's designed to get you back into the culture and pre-exilic times. All right. As you can see, our Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, is on the evening of the 10th, right? Which is really the 11th, but you know, it's the 10th day of the 7th month, according to the calendar, right? So here at the top, right, you have the number of the month according to the pre-exilic calendar, which is superimposed onto the 2nd day of the Gregorian calendar. All right. Now, one thing we're going to do by request is the calendar we do next year is going to be a full 12 months of the Gregorian calendar. However, the reckoning of time for the feast days is going to be overlaid onto it with 8 months, right? 8 months onto the 12 months. But people want the 12 months because they like the pictures and like to use the calendar the entire year. But again, this was the pilot run. It was well received. So next year, we're going to make some improvements and you guys are going to enjoy it. But here's the calendar right here. Now, if you go back and click on that link for the playlist, I break down all of this in more detail. And if you're on the Patreon, you'll see all the books we have up there. There's 5 books we have up there on a calendar. And if you're not part of the Patreon, you can email us, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and we can send you those books on the calendar so you can kind of understand where we're getting at with this and be able to follow along with those lectures in the playlist. All right. So again, if you're interested in acquiring this, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Shout out to Eliyahu Yirmiyahu. Thank you so much, my brother, for the donation. And of course, I'm going to continue to dedicate myself as long as Yah wills it and empower me to do so. All right. So Virtue says, would this be a lunar calendar? No, it's not a lunar calendar. It is a constellation calendar using a sidereal year, lunar calendar using the phase of the moon, solar calendar, right, which accounts for the day period. It is also a terrestrial calendar in relation to the crops or the harvest, in relation to animal migration and mating, and in regards to climate or the weather, right? So it's not a lunar calendar. It involves all 6 of these elements. And these 6 of these elements are utilized in order to determine the start of the year and the various events that go throughout the year until the ending of the priestly calendar, which ends in Bull, because the priests didn't care about anything after Bull because their job was done in regards to reckoning time and making a public announcement or declaration in regards to when the feast days begin. Okay. Then the rest from that point on is taken up by the civil calendar takes over in regards to the agriculturalists and pastoralists with things that they do during those period of time. You know, mostly sowing is going on during those rainy seasons, and then you do your reaping in early Aviv, right? But then as you get into the summertime, you know, the heat is very, very rich and the soil tends to dry up more. And this is why it's difficult to sow crops in the ground. You pretty much have to pick at that point the fruits of the land, like your pomegranates, your dates or honey dates, your figs, you know, your grapes, your olives, etc. All right. Shout out to my brother Reckless Animosity in the building. Thank you for coming out as well, my brother, to the DMV event. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Mac 803 says, I got the calendar, best $10 I spent. Right. That $10 donation he gave, it go towards a collective pot of funds that provide these free services that you guys got. In that last video before this video, where we broke down credit repair for you guys, put you onto game, go into the description. All the links are there on how to repair your credit, and naturopathic health consultation, educational information that you also see from 3 major guides that we have there in that you can purchase from Amazon for $7 a piece. That's there in the description, right? So every time you guys donate, I go and I provide free information, free consultation, free assessments. And then I said, look, let me throw a video up because the people, they support this ministry. All of y'all who donate through the super chat, all of y'all who do the Patreon, you're providing free services from people that prior could not afford services like this mainstream wise. All right. So this is where a lot of your donations are going, right? And you can tell, you know, those who came out to the event and enjoyed yourselves at the event. I mean, y'all came there when you first got to the event. What happened, right? When they first got to the tent, we had our sanitation station. Those of you who are on Facebook, you saw some of the pictures I put up. I'm also going to add pictures to Instagram today or tomorrow so Instagram can see it. If you're on Twitter, probably not going to see it because Twitter doesn't allow me to put those images up, right? But I'll put a post in the community tab here with maybe about 6 of the major pictures you can take a look at. But at our sanitation station, we're COVID-19 friendly. We provide hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks. And also there was a cup of pistachios and almonds, right? It's a form of gift giving, okay? And shout out to Remarkable Ministries, man. Brother David and Sister Gail, man, some of the best teammates I ever worked with, man. Very generous, very hospitable. And they looked out for me while I was out there, man. They also gifted me as well because they understood the culture. I love those guys, man. They excellent. All right. But when you got there, and they're the ones that really help put everything together. You know what I'm saying? Like I just gave the directions and they put it together. You know what I'm saying? But then you're greeted with these gifts that when they came in, I said, hey, you get hand sanitizer, gloves, mask. And then here, take this gift, right? With pistachios and almonds. So some people who follow this channel, you know what that's about, right? Some people did not know what that was about. And when they got in there, we talked about it. We built on it. You know what I'm saying? And you understand that, look, we got to restore these customs of hospitality. All right. These customs of a peace offering to one another. These offerings of, you know, hey, I'm showing you love and hospitality and warmness and a welcome. You know what I'm saying? Come in to my home, come into my venue, come into my event. You're welcoming people with these things. A lot of times with this culture that we have, you don't greet people with these gifts. You know what I'm saying? When they come into your home, when they come to your event, you know, they're taking their time out and investing their time to be there at your venue, at your event. So you must give them something in return. Not just information, like you give them stuff in return. When people got there, there was food there. Food and drinks. People that came out there, you saw, you ate, you got snacks, you got drinks, right? We had a vending table. So those who wanted to patronize our items were able to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got a chance to interface with each other. You guys got free credit repair information, free naturopathic health education, just free stuff we just threw at you guys. So all the naysayers, you know, the trolls that come in here and say, oh, your channel's monetized. Oh, you collecting Patreon. Oh, you got super chat. And we can show for where this stuff is going. Right? We can show. Right? Now, y'all just salty because, you know, y'all don't have a platform, a lane, or you're not even really probably even called to do anything, right? So you want to come in here and you want to antagonize other people that put in the work. But it's like, yo, we're outside the virtual world in the real world trying to enact change in communities. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, are y'all trying to do that? Are you doing anything to anybody in this group? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So the Israelite Messianic Vanguard, I don't know why you cursing in here, but you're toast. You're done. You're up out of here. All right. All right. And mods, I know you're on point, man. Anytime you see cursing, get them out of here. All right. Because cursing is not allowed in here. Get them out of here. All right. Thank you so much, my brother JD Israel. He said your credit repair video was on point. No problem, my brother. Again, you know what I'm saying? If you guys want to know how to repair credit, go back and check that video out. All the information is in there. If you guys want us to do the service for you, email us right there at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, right? Or if you want to link up with our affiliate program and our consultation program so you can make 25% on affiliate and 50% commission, respectively, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and let us help you get employed. And as well, you get a sign-up bonus of $10 when you sign up for the affiliate program and $20 when you sign up for the consultation program. Again, we're just giving stuff out. We're giving you a bonus to join in a program where you also make money. There's no liability to you. All right. No liability to you. Shout out to Pastor Kelly Richardson in the building. What's going on, Elder? We woke now. What's going on? All right. All right. So with that being said, now we are getting fancy. All right. Those of you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. We're getting fancy. Let me show you guys this real quick. All right. I'm going to tell you what we've done there at the event. Those at the event know exactly what we did. Now we are using our software or our website that we're using to capture data from people who are showing interest in joining the ministry and or our services we provide. And I'm going to show you what it is that those of you who are watching now before we go in, we're going to go in tonight. Don't worry. We're about to go in tonight. Those of you who are interested in signing up for our services, those of you who are interested in joining our organization, we've made it easy for you guys, all right, by way of a mobile app that you can interface with right on your phone. All right, so I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Just give me 1 second. You guys can see exactly what it is I'm talking about. All right, let's see. Here it is. Right. All right, so I'm going to bring it up on the screen. Give me a second. All right. So here is the app. It's called the My One Church app. So you're going to go to Apple, type in My One Church app. Go to Android, type in My One Church app. All right. So if those of you on you have your cell phones right now, I don't know if you're watching this from your cell phone, from your TV, from your tablet, or whatever the case may be. But when you get a moment right now or sometime during the show or after the show, please go to My One Church app on Apple, on the Apple Store or the Android Google Play Store. Download this app. And then once the app is downloaded, there's going to be a section there that says zip code. Type in 30064, 30064. You're going to see Kingdom Harbinger Ministry show up as an entry. Click on it. And then from there, you're going to see at the top, as you can see right here, right at the top left, is going to be 3 horizontal bars. You're going to click onto that. And as you can see right here, let me zoom in so you guys can see. Right, you're going to click on forms and it's going to say membership details. So those of you who want to sign up for the ministry organization, click on the forms and click on membership details. And when you click on that, fill out the form. We'll capture information. We'll add you into the system and then we'll do a follow-up with you. Right. We can also send out notifications via push notifications. So if you have the app and you're logged in to our ministry, we can send you push notifications of all the updates and things that are going on with the ministry. And those of you who want to join our affiliate program for Jubilee Main Mission Credit Repair, those of you who want to join our consultation program for Jubilee Main Mission Credit Repair, or those of you who need the service, need your credit repaired, all right, click on groups. And in the groups, you're going to see Jubilee Main Mission services. If you need our services to repair your credit, click on Jubilee Main Mission affiliates. If you want to join the affiliate program where you're just referring our services to people and you make 25% commission and $10 sign up bonus, or click on Jubilee Main Mission for the consultation program or Jubilee Main Mission consultation. If you want to sign up for our consultation program and provide assessments and consultations and make a $20 sign up bonus as well as 50% commission. All right. Now we also have the same thing for our Natural Path to Eden services, affiliate program, and our consultation program. So you go into groups, you'll see them listed in the groups, click on them, and you'll be able to enter your information so we can capture your data and follow up with you accordingly, right? We've been doing it via email, but email is kind of clunky. It's not as organized, and the data is not as parsed out in email. So I've been using this software since the beginning of the year, but now we're truly implementing it now, at these events and now via the internet, via you guys watching right now. So that way we can get more organized, more structured. And now we're adding more administrators to our team. You know what I'm saying? So we can handle the influx of requests because we get tons of requests. So those of you who may not have heard a response back to us, we're going to get to you. We just get tons of requests. However, this is the best way to reach us because there's also a contact us section where you can send messages, concerns, updates, or whatever, and we can capture all that data. All right. So again, I want y'all to go to the Apple App Store, the Android Google Play Store, download the My One Church app. When you install the app, it's going to say zip code, type 30064 in, click on the Kingdom Harbinger Ministries as the entry, and then click on the forms. By clicking on the 3 horizontal dots, the drop down comes up here. Click on forms, click on membership details, and then you can give us your information so we can lock you in and tie you to a chapter in the city that we have a chapter set up. Or if we get enough requests, we'll set up a chapter in that specific city. This way we can capture data. Or if you want our services, or if you want to join our employment services, click on groups and click on Jubilee Many Mission Services, Jubilee Many Mission Affiliates, Jubilee Many Mission Consultants, or Natural Path to Eden Services, Natural Path to Eden Affiliates, Natural Path to Eden Consultation or Consultant, excuse me. All right. So we're trying to take things to the next level so we can be better organized. We can respond to more requests. The zip code again, I'll put it in the chat. All right. So once you download it, you'll see it is as you click on it, the One Church app, and you install it, you have the section for enter the zip code. You put 30064. And once you do that, it'll pop up and you'll see Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. When you click on that, you'll see a loading screen, culture, community, autonomy, and then bring you to our home screen. And from there, you can communicate with us by clicking the 3 horizontal lines at the top left. And then you have the group section and the form section. All right. And there's also a contact us section. And it's also, we can send push notifications out, and you can see it in the inbox section. And it's a better way for you to stay in touch with us to stay in touch with you, us to capture your information and your data. So that way we can take care of you guys. All right. And those of you who are pastors or congregational leaders, you also can set the same thing up. Go to My One Church app, right? Or go online and you can sign up for onechurchsoftware.com, www.onechurchsoftware.com. And there you can set up your own, similar to what we have, your own database so you can organize your ministry. All right. Free game. Look, I give out free game all the time. I don't know why people out here hating on me or what we do when we give out free game all the time. I just threw a layup to other pastors and congregational leaders out there to start to use these software or these web apps to better organize your organization and your churches. Free game. All right. Free game. All right. Okay. Shout out to Father Tom. Thank you for the donation. He says, have you heard about the nonprofit organization called Black Achievement Fund in Georgia? If so, what are your plans from here on? I don't know if I heard of Black Achievement Fund, but I will look into that. So I'm not going to comment on something that I'm not familiar with. All right. So I don't know what that is. At least I don't recall what that is, but I'll look into it. And then when we do a follow-up, I'll go ahead and I'll touch on it. If once I get better informed about it, but I don't like to speak prematurely about something that I'm not 100% sure about. All right. But if you have information on that, Father Tom, please email it to me right here at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll review it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So family, make sure you take a moment, download that app, the My One Church app. Once you install it, it's going to ask you for the zip code 30064. Click on Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. And then from there, you're going to go to the group section if you want to sign up for our services or employment program, or click on the forms and click on membership details and fill in that information so we can capture data from you guys, so we can send you emails. We can send gifts, anonymous gifts, to your house with memorabilia from the organization. We can send you information through the mail, information via email. If you want text updates, we can send you text updates. If not, you can get notifications via push notification that comes through from the app when we keep you guys informed. So that way you'll know when we go live. All right. When we have events in your area. So that way you don't have to wait and watch a video. You have to wait for a flyer. Everything will be there. And there's a sermon section. So when I do my lectures, whether it's virtually or in person, all the information will be in there. So you can follow along with the lecture because all the details will be there in the sermon section. And you'll be able to click on the particular sermon and follow the lecture along with me as I'm talking about it. See, it enables us to be more interactive. It enables us to engage with you better. So please, if you're interested in this ministry or you want to be a part of what we're doing as far as the collective whole to enact change in our community, please download the app. All right. You said that you emailed me about it. All right. So look, Father Tom, download the app, the My One Church app. I have administrators that are watching incoming incoming messages, along as with me as well. I'm looking at it as well. And that's a better way for you to communicate with us is through the app. All right. You can do it via email, and that's fine. And we'll get to it. But if you do it through the app, we'll get that notification quicker than we would via email, believe it or not. It's interesting. All right. Shout out to Sadaria Halliburton in the building. What's going on? Shlomo Ben Yehuda says, do you have a congregation in Central Florida? Would you consider Orlando Central Florida? If so, we do have people out there that we've onboarded for KHM. We still have more people out there that we have to onboard. But if you're referring to Florida, then yes, we have points of contacts out there in Florida. Now that we have this application and administrators in place, we're going to officially structure all of our chapters. So you guys will have meetup locations, details for the monthly events and so forth. All right. So would you consider that part of it? Let me know. All right, cool. My brother Brian Gate, the ESQ in the building. Peace, my brother. Yeah, okay, cool. Call me tomorrow in the afternoon and let's chat. All right. Let's chat. All right. Shout out to Andre Waverez in the building. What's going on? Mr. Casanova 1911. He says, when is Q&A? Don't want to interrupt your current flow. Q&A will be on in a second. I did 50 minutes already of talking. So now let me get into the information. And then after that, I'm going to go from there. All right. So Shlomo Ben Yehuda says, yes, Orlando. Okay. So if you need Orlando, email us kingdomharbor@gmail.com or download the My One Church app on your Apple phone or your Android phone. In the zip code, when you set it up, type 364, click on Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. And then from there, you have a means of contacting or communicating with us. So that way we can link you up with your chapter. All right. In Orlando. All right. Thank you, Daweed Ben Israel. He says he's downloaded it. I appreciate that. Shout out to my sister, Sharuka Israel in the building. What's going on, sis? What's going on? All right. All right. I think that's everybody. Shout out to sis by hearing and hearing by in the building. Dram92, what's going on? He said, is it on Google Play Store? Yes, it is, my brother. Let me bring up the screen again. I showed it on the screen, but let me bring it up again for you so you can see it. Let me show it to you real quick. I'll bring it up again to show you what it looks like. All right, so right here on the right, it says Android. It says My One Church app. All right, this is from the Google Play Store. Okay, and over here on your left, this is from the Apple Store, the My One Church app. All right. And again, you can always go back to the replay and get it if you missed it. All right. Okay. All right. So let's move forward, family. All right. So again, hit that thumbs up button, family. Hit that thumbs up if you're enjoying what we got so far. Again, don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect. We still have the $210 giveaway that we're going to do in the next couple of days. So if you signed up, you're automatically eligible to win $210 just for patronizing us on Patreon. We want to give back to those who are supporting us. All right. Also, we put up 2 new books. I put up 2 new books. So if you want to know what those books are, you got to go to the Patreon, check it out. And the books that I'm going to go into tonight, they will be available also on a Patreon or via individual email requests. All right. Shout out to my brother Ready for R in the building. I haven't seen my brother in years. Man, I've been following you on social media, my brother, man. Much love and respect to you, my brother. You have my support. He said, praise to the Most High, man. Shout out to Ready for R in the building. Make sure you click on his avatar and subscribe to his channel, man. All right. So shout out to 6 Fingers, 11 in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? Yes, that means Achi. Yep, you have your Aleph, your Het, and your Yod. Achi. All right, that means my brother. The Yod suffix is the possessive is the possessive construct of Ach, which means my brother. Right, Achi. All right, just like Yehudi means of Judah. All right, but it's the possessive. All right. All right. New Hope Family Investments LLC says Navi. That means prophet in Hebrew. Thank you for calling me that, my brother. I don't see myself as a prophet, but if you want to call it that, you know, I'm willing to accept it, man. He says, prophetically speaking, your ministry is paving the way for generations to come. Thank you so much for acknowledging that, my brother. We try to stay ahead of the curve and pave a path that people are maybe a little apprehensive. You know, people that talk to me and say, yo, Divine, in the beginning, man, I was fighting against what you were saying. And then once I removed the dogma, I was able to see it more clearly. And I was able to follow and I was able to understand it. And like I told you, the Black people, or those who identify as African Americans in our community who have an Israelite identity, I tell you, there's two major things in regards to this walk that you need to understand: culture and identity, right? You got to get the culture aspect first, and then the identity migrates and follows along with that. And that's how you connect you to the text, okay? And what I'm going to go into tonight is some details in regards to the culture. And again, next month, well, today's October 1st. So this month, we're going to be doing a trial run next week for our KHM. It's called the KHM Holistic Research Paradigm for Bible Study. It's a holistic research paradigm that's utilized to solve the ills that people encounter when they do Bible study, because they don't have all the right tools in order to deconstruct what they see in the text so they can reconstruct this application. All right, reconstruct it and apply it. All right, so we're going to give you the tools to do that. And what I'm about to show you tonight is going to help to culturally reorient you into further understanding this culture, right? It's a cultural paradigm that you're engaging in, right? And the culture dictates your spirituality. If you don't understand the culture, then you're superimposing your current presuppositional dogmas onto the text, and you're trying to understand it from a modern perspective. No, you got to work inductively, work from the data from scratch for the material, non-material culture. And then once you're able to understand it within its appropriate context, then you can extract the principle and apply it in contemporary times to yield back the intended results. All right, that's how it works. That's why we had to teach you guys what real meditation is. And that's why I had to share about what prayer really is. You know what I'm saying? I got to have a whole lecture I'm doing on that. All right, you got to look at the text holistically. You got to ask questions. What was the climate during this time? What time of the year was this? What was the geographical location? What is the diet at this time? What are the societal stresses? What are the political stresses? What are the economic stresses? How do people live day to day? What were the customs and manners of that time period, right? What were the trades that the people had? Were they pastoralists? Were they artisans? Were they agriculturalists? And if so, what did that entail, right? What was the mode of transportation? Did people walk? Did people ride horses, donkeys, camels, whatever the case may be? You know, were they close to the coastal plains where the Mediterranean Sea is at? Were they near the Jordan River that flanks Israel towards the east? Right? Were they in the Negev desert, where mostly you have the lowland area, which is more of an arid environment. Therefore, most of the people towards the south near the Negev are pastoralists or Bedouins. Those towards the north, where the hilly countryside is at, where it's more forestation, mostly you do horticulture via agriculture. Those on the coastal plains mostly did fishing because it was near the Mediterranean Sea. You got to ask these questions. What was the climate? What was the time of the year? Also, the tents. I'm going to show you from the book, the Bedouin culture in the Bible, where the tents were mostly made out of animal skins. And you don't put up tents during the late spring, summer period. Why? Because if you go in there, it's like a radiator. You're going to heat up and burn. So what they did was they built sukkahs. They built, these sukkot, right? They built these tabernacles, shelters, which allow ventilation, but also protected you from the rain, right? And any adverse elements that's out there in the environment, right? And this is how the Bedouins live today, and they kept a culture that goes back 3,000 to 5,000 years unchanged. And that book, Bedouin Culture in the Bible, actually explains that, and I'm gonna show you some stuff in there. Okay. Slowfo, all right. Inbox me on Facebook or email me, my brother, and I got you. All right. All right. He said, do a lesson on spookism. All right. I guess I could touch on that. No problem, man. So Yahweh Stop says, Shalom, Octavan. When will the Death to Dogma series start? Now, again, that's a heavy series. All right. We're going to have it this fall. Before the end of the fall, we're going to have it started. Again, I'm waiting on my brother, Christian. I don't think he's in the chat right now, but he's relocating to Atlanta. And he's going to help me with the videography, video editing aspect of it. So I'm waiting for him to touch down. And once he gets here, then we'll get to work. All right. So Sister Alexandria Henderson, shalom, sis. Thank you for joining us. She says, can you write the list of all the questions we should be asking the text? Excellent, excellent, excellent. You want me to give you a list of that? So I can send you a list. If you'd like, we can send you a list, sis. Please download the app, and in there you can do to contact us, and you can send us information through there or any requests. If you sent the email, then we're still perusing through the emails. We'll get to yours shortly. But if you do it through the app, we'll get it more immediately. Okay. But again, you asked question is, what was the climate? What time of the year was it? What major events occurred in the history of the community at that time? How did the people live, right? What kind of architecture did they build for their homes? Okay. What kind of trades? Were they agriculturalists? Were they pastoralists? Were they artisans? Right? Were they maritime traders? Okay. Did they work, in regards to with the elites? You know what I'm saying? What was their job? Were they scribes? Were they historians? You know what I'm saying? What are the political stresses, economic stresses? What were the manners and customs of the day? All right. What were the sister cultures that surrounded this culture because they weren't in a vacuum? All right. So all of these things we're going to go into when we do the KHM holistic research paradigm for Bible study, right? We're going to teach you what questions to ask anytime you come across any passage in the text. Also, are there any idioms in this passage, right? What are the key words that stands out, in the passage? And what is its syntactical effect on neighboring words within that same passage? Okay. Just like when I went into Leviticus chapter 17, verse 7, and the Devarim chapter 32, verse 17, when we talk about this word devils that's translated in English in the KJV as devils, right? Well, what do you mean devils? What is that? Right? Well, in Leviticus chapter 17, verse 7, that word there is the word setier, the word that you get for goat. Okay. But when we get to Devarim chapter 32, verse 17, the word is shedim. They're two different meanings, but yet English translated as devils because they added the spookism to it. And that's not what that is. All right. Shedim are protecting spirits of other cultures that when you step outside the boundaries of the covenant of the Most High Yah, outside of his protection, his provision boundaries, and you engage in another culture, there are some protecting spirits of that culture that would attack you like a guard dog because now you're stepping outside of your jurisdiction into somebody else's culture. Therefore, you are giving offerings and sacrifice to appease to these protective spirits so they don't attack you and they can give you favor for a particular inquiry, okay? When you can just refer to the Most High. Just like I gave you 2 Kings chapter 1, right? Here's an example. 2 Kings chapter 1, all right? So 2 Kings chapter 1, I think is it chapter 1? I think it's chapter 1. Let me confirm, right? Yes, chapter 1. And verse 2 says, now Ahaziah fell through the lattice in his upper chamber in Samaria and lay sick. So he sent messengers telling them, go inquire of Baal-zebub, where you get Beelzebub in the Brit Hadashah New Testament, the power of Ekron. Ekron is a city-state that is in the Pentapolis of the coastal plains where the Philistines resided. All right. Whether I shall recover from this sickness. But a messenger of Yod-Heh-Wah-Pheh said to Eliyahu the Tishbite, arise, go to meet up with the messenger of the king of Samaria and say to them, is it because there is no power in Israel that you're going to inquire of Baal-zebub, the power of Ekron? Now, therefore, thus says Yod-Heh-Wah-Pheh, you shall not come down from the bed to which you have gone up, but you shall surely die. So Eliyahu went. This is 2 Kings chapter 1. Now, why is this important? Because I just told you those protecting spirits and those divine council members that are delegated over certain principalities, right? Over certain cultures and groups and nations and kingdoms, right? When you step outside the boundaries of protection of the Most High and acquire these other deities, now you're violating the cultural protection that the Most High has given to those he has covenant with. And now you will be adversely attacked by these protecting spirits that are trying to protect another culture. Same thing as when Israelites go outside their customs and go and delve with the dead, like we see in Yeshua time, where it said they came out of the tombs or they were in the tombs, they were practicing necromancy. And this is why unclean spirits came upon them. Okay, because when you step outside of the boundaries of Torah, which is your cultural mandate on how to live in captivity in the diaspora, you are now stepping outside the jurisdiction that Yah has over his people by way of, covenant. And now you are going, as a rogue into other cultures. And now you're encountering other spirits that are trying to protect the dead, trying to protect other cultures. Now they're acting adversarial against you. That doesn't make it intrinsically evil. No, it's trying to protect another culture from you. You need to stay within the bounds of your culture and let the other group stay within the bounds of their culture. That's how it works. All right. Are you following? Are you feeling me? Again, hit that thumbs up, family. Hit that thumbs up. All right. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. All right. How do we know that the information we receive is true and not whitewashed? All right. So the reason why we know the information we receive is true is because we apply an objective research methodology, which is almost in computer terms like an algorithm, right? It's a computer program that is designed to receive information, process it, and output information independent of how you feel, what you believe, right? So that's how we deal with information that is not whitewashed, all right? So we go to primary sources and or secondary sources that speak about the primary sources, extract that data, and then we put it through a very stringent research methodological system that will then output for us objective information that we then can reclaim and integrate into our cultural paradigm. All right. Now, when we do this Bible study, quote unquote, we'll show you how that's done. We give you each step of the research methodological process and how we output information, right? So we have a list of questions, starter questions that starts off the research, and then we create a hypothesis. We feed it through the hypothesis and bring it through the various change of that methodology until we get an output conclusion, which we then build a premise off of, and we find a way to integrate it into our cultural paradigm and find a way to apply it into our society to alleviate the ills that we face each and every day. That's the process, right? But we get into more technical details about the various mechanical components when we get into this Bible study. This is why I said, whatever you invest in, whether it's on Patreon or whether you pay a la carte for this class, it's worth every penny just for the resources alone, right? That we actually show you how to filter all of the white noise and get right into the frequency that Yah was trying to convey to his people at the time and its application to us today, its relevance to us today, right? So the dogmas create the white noise that have conflated and confounded and confused, you know, the clear path to Yah, that clear frequency that he wants us to hone in on. So we remove the dogma, we remove the presuppositions, and this research methodology is like a bulldozer that pushes through it and allows us to walk through the path so we can align ourselves with the objective is of Yah for his people in these days and times. All right. So we try to simplify as much as we can, but we give you that real information. Shout out to my brother Quincy Claiborne in the building. What's going on? Black Ave, what's up? What's up? All right. So Aki Getwine says, Aki, what is your position on or thoughts on what will take place throughout eternity? Excellent question. James, you are on the Patreon. I put a book there, a book and an article where it says Dust or Dew. That book is called Dust or Dew. So go into the Patreon, look at the book Dust or Dew, and that begins to break it down. And I put another book up there which talks about eternity in regards to the ancient Near East. And then I did a video a couple of months ago. Inbox me on Patreon. I'll send it to you, where I touched on eternity. I showed the development of it from the Chumash, the first 5 books, all the way to what we see throughout the Tanakh. And then if those who subscribe to Brit Hadashah, what's the depiction of it in that period of time. And also we touched on the intertestamental periods, because a lot of the development in Second Temple Judaism is by way of Zoroastrianism, Hellenism, and Roman customs, culture, and mythology, right? All of these things have tainted, all right, Second Temple Judaism. Hence why we go back to the pre-exilic state and try to use that as a template, extract the cultural mandates of the pure nature of it, not the way that a lot of people practice it because they didn't keep it to the T. But now we have information. Looking in retrospect, we can extract that information and we can apply it today. So in regards to the end times, you know, as far as eternity, you know, Olam, eternity, when we pass, it's a development in the idea to the point where we get all the way up to Malachi, where we understand, you know, the vantage point of eternity from Israelite culture throughout the accumulation of knowledge into a data bank that is passed down in the culture from generation to generation, right? But I will say ultimately we won't know for certain until the time comes, right? So what we do is we practice the customs and the culture now as a safeguard. So when the time comes, whatever that, you know, extradition process is to the favorable outcome of eternity, we'll be able to enter into there. All right. So hopefully that begins to help. So shout out to Israel Witness and Servant, says he's hitting us here from Barbados in the building. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? He says, here's something I found relating to what you said. That we email it to me. Email is right there at the bottom. Email it to me so that way I can check out what it is that you're sharing. All right. All right. So I'm glad that you got it, sis. Alexandria. So sis, that is the approach. That is how we get rid of, You said whitewash. Things are blackwash too, not just whitewash. Tons of stuff is blackwash too. The objective research methodological approach that we take, it gets rid of all that white noise. And it just gives you the concrete information. And then from there, it becomes a template on how to apply it today. So that way you can get alignment with Yah's will in these end times. All right. So remember, I told you what prayer is. Prosukamai, palal, and prosukamai. Palal means to be judged, right? To cut and divide something. And prosukamai, pros means the motion towards. Ukamai means the will of or the desire of. So it is motioning towards the will of whoever you're appealing to, so you can be judged, and the parts of you that's interfering with you being in alignment with the will is removed. So now the unfavorable circumstances that should occur based on the consequence of your actions, peradventure, he can move it out the way and align you with his will, right? Or he can keep you in his will and help you persevere through the consequences. And I gave that example of Dawid, when Dawid was with Bathsheba and committed adultery with her, and also conspiracy to murder, where he should have been put to death. However, the Most High spared him, but took his son, his illegitimate son, took his son, the illegitimate son. After that son died, when he got wedded with Bathsheba, then he had legitimate children from her, right? But that son was taken, and he prayed. He tried to motion towards Yah's will through fasting, etc., and said, peradventure of Yah's will, he would stave off the judgment that is rendered unto my son. But when that judgment was not pulled away, he stopped fasting. He stopped, putting on sackcloth and mourning, right? And then he got up on his feet. He went on with his business because he understood this was the will of the Most High, and he got to a point of acceptance. That's what most people have the issue with. We want Yah to accept our will, and we have problems accepting his will. We want him to conform to our will and give us the things, the desires of our heart, which Jeremiah says, the heart is deceitfully wicked above all things. Who can know it? Yah knows the heart of a man. He knows your leb, the center, the mind of who you are. So why would you want him to bless, quote unquote, Baruch, that wicked heart, that uncircumcised heart? Why would you want him to do that? The only way that heart is circumcised is when you apply the statute, laws, commandments internally, and it allows you to perform the weightier manners of the law, mercy and justice and faithfulness and kindness and meekness. And these are the weightier matters of the law. When you're able to keep these things, not only can you, perform the customs, but now it's engraved into your heart. Now it becomes a lifestyle. Now it becomes second nature or instinctive to do good. That is part of Torah. That's what Torah says. All right. Yeshua also said when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, he says, I pray that this cup will pass from me, but it's not my will, but thy will be done. When he did the Father's prayer, for those of you who are, subscribed to Messianism, he says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom done, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. What are you talking about? Yah's will. That's how you pray. You pray to conform to his will. Formulaic prayer, which I broke out before. I gave you Nehemiah chapter 1. You go through all of the aspects of an appeal within your prayer. You hoist it up, and then what Yah does is that he reviews the appeal, and he sifts through the appeal. He moves out your nonsense, and then the parts of that appeal that is conforming with his will, he acts and performs. That's how it works. That's what prayer is. It's unfortunate that today they got us praying aimlessly and not putting up appropriate appeals, and they wonder why there's no change that's occurring. Because Christianity has not taught us how to properly pray. They have not done that. All right. Slow Flow said $1 million worth of gain. All praise to the Most High. I appreciate that, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So again, you appeal to his characteristics. This is why theophoric names was important in those times, because a theophoric name is the invocation of the deity's attributes onto the life and the environment and circumstances of the individual. If your name is Eliyahu, it's Yah is my power. Yeah, if your name is Yeshayahu, Yah is my salvation. Abiyah, Yah is my father. See, the power, the frequency in the names, it aligns you with the attributes of the patron deity. So when your name is called, your name has his name in it. He says, my people that are called after my name. And I went over onomastics with y'all and I explained to y'all how we can use onomastics to validate the historicity of the text and the importance of theophoric names. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Facts, Father Time. You're right. You're correct. All right. So look. So unorthodox daughter of Zion, she said, like he's a genie. Facts. We said, yeah, I want this, I want that. I want you to do this for me. Whoa. Wait, hold on. If you want that, Baal God or Gad, Baal Gad, the master of fortune, that's the power that will do that for you. See, the master of fortune is tied into the prosperity gospel. That's the deity they're actually praying to. It's an egregore. So Jesus Christ is the front man of the egregore. And Baal, God, is the one that is saying, okay, you want this, you want that, here you go. You're getting it based on your desires and what you're asking for. That's what Baal Gad does. That's the power of fortune, the master or ruler over the fortune. That's his job to provide that for you. Right? So you're not going to the Most High. That's what you're asking for. Okay. All right. Shout out to True Israel Rising for the donation. Thank you so much for the sticker donation. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sister Janae said, yes, yes. Bless you, Divine, for sharing your knowledge. Anytime, sis, it's free game. Y'all deserve it. So I'm here to serve y'all. All right. Deshaun Dillard says, struggling with a certain sin. How do I get over that? Depends on what it is, my brother. You don't have to share it publicly. You can email it to me and, whatever the inquiry is, and I'll see what I can do to send information your way to assist you with that. Okay. All right. All right. So, So that hopefully that begins to answer those questions you asked. Again, we have a lecture coming up on prayer that will go into detail about that and be able to get you guys to how do you perform prayer, right? So you have two different types of prayer. You have the formulaic prayer, which I want to show y'all, and then you have the organic appeal prayer. It's two different ones that we find in the text. It's either one of those, all right? And the formulaic prayer, because we have been disconnected from the culture, when you see like Nehemiah pray, Nehemiah remembers how to put up the appeal based on oral tradition, even being in captivity, coming back to the land. Okay, remember Nehemiah was a cupbearer. All right, he worked closely with the elites. All right, and he wanted to get favor so he can go back and rebuild the temple, the city, and the walls, because he saw the condition that Yah's people was in. So he stepped off his elite position, role. He stepped out of that role to come and humble himself to go and rebuild the things of Yah. See, he could have stayed in his position of power and got luxury and all of that. He stepped down. He was praying for Yah's will to empower him to get the okay to go back so he can help his people. Are we doing the same thing? Are you taking your degree, your job role, your influence in society, and are you taking it back to your community to build up Yah's people, to speak life into the dry bones in your community? Is you doing that, or is you run away from your community? Yah doesn't give us the spirit of fear. The righteous is bold as a lion. Lions don't back down when it's time to feed. Lions don't back down when it's time to defend. Lions put in that work. Okay. Shout out to remember the Chris Bronson for the donation. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. So what he did, New Hope, is he clicked on the super chat icon, which should be like a dollar icon. That's over there where you write the message. It should be a little dollar icon. You can click on that and it should give you the option to do a super chat or a super sticker. And you could do either one of those if you want to donate, my brother. All right. I appreciate that. All right. All right. So shout out to Ben Doroso. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. You said, how can I donate to you? If you look, scrolling across the screen, the Cash App is there. And then you have the Patreon there. You can do either or. If you want to do a one-time, you can do a Cash App. Or if you want to do a monthly pledge, that's through the Patreon. All right. And again, we'll take your funds, put it towards more chapter establishments in various cities, providing services to the community and continuing to give out free game, right? And responding to requests that we get. So those of you who are pouring in your donations, it is paying for the time, energy, and effort that we utilize to go back and help people in the community, those who can otherwise cannot afford it. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate y'all for the donation. Thank you so much for that. All right. All right. So, yeah, so Stacks and DB, thank you for sharing that with the brother. I appreciate that. Shout out to my brother Jay Humble in the building. I want to play a track, but you know what? Every time I play music from Israelites, I get hit with copyright strikes, man. When y'all see these strikes come up on your YouTube channel, y'all got to say, yo, it's Divine, man. Let Divine do it, man. Let Divine do it. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Y'all got to help me out, man. I'm trying to promote y'all. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother Daweed Ben Israel. So you dropping dimes, my brother. Anytime, my brother. I'm here to help the community, man. So look, let's get into this information, all right? Look at this. Look, Seth brought it out. Shout out to my brother Seth, Johannesburg, KHM in the building. He says, James or Yaakov 4:3 says, you ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lust. Your appeal is you're requesting something. And a lot of times you're requesting things because you want Yah to honor your lust, your passions. Seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Everything that you need as provisions, he will provide as long as you stay in covenant with him. Seek his will. Chokmah, the feminine attribute of Yah, the wisdom aspect should flow through you. The text is the ancient cultural pathway to get you to Chokmah. Because you have to get to a state where you know what Yah is saying and not just what he said. Let me say it again. You have to get to a point where you know what Yah is saying and not just what he said. The purpose of us reconstructing the culture, right? So we can restore it. So it puts us in direct alignment with Yah. So now we can hear what he's saying and not just read what he said. Some of y'all too static. You're not dynamic in this walk. That's why there's no flexibility. That's why you're too rigid. We're trying to remove that so you can walk circumspectly. Okay. All right. Brother Yahweh says, do you have a lecture on egregore? No. Do you want a lecture on egregore? If so, let me know. Let me know, my brother. Email me or download the app and reach out to me via the app. All right. So again, make sure you hit that thumbs up, family. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, share this video, hit subscribe if you're brand new. And thank you. I bow down. I thank everybody who has given donations. Now, are you ready for this information? Let me rock it out. All right. Before the 2-hour mark get upon us so fast, I'm going to open up to some more question and answers. All right. Hit 1 if the audio and video is on point and you want me to proceed with this information. Let me know. And get wise, that is part of the journey. I tell you all the time, the one thing that I really like from Paul, the best thing I like from Paul, let me show it to you. Let me break it down for you. Hold on. Those of you who follow New Testament, even if you don't follow New Testament, it's just free game that Paul gives out. Check this out. Let me show you this. A lot of y'all should be familiar with this. Check out this free game, and I'm going to break it down for y'all, all right? And a lot of y'all may be already familiar with this, right? Check this out. Let me pull up on the screen, and then we're going to get to work. All right? Okay, y'all want to get to work? All right, cool. Let me show you this real quick, all right? Romans 8:28 says, and we know that for those who love the Most High, all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose, Yah's purpose. But the text says we know those who love. How do you love him? You love him with all your heart, mind, and soul. How do you do that? By submitting yourself to the cultural mandates that we call the statute, laws, and commandments. Obedience is better than sacrifice. That's the best form of love that you can show the Most High. Yeshua said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And he says that he didn't do nothing outside of what the Father has given him to do. If you love him, you keep his commandments. That's how you show love. So for those who are keeping his commandments, everything works together for good. Here's the deep thing. What is that? In a critical edition Bible, like the ESV, the English Standard Version, you have an FM, which means a footnote. And it says some manuscripts, it tells you if it's a textual variant or some additional information in regards to that verse. It says some manuscripts say God works all things together for good, or God works in all things for the good. Now, let's break down what this word here, right? I'm going to show you this word. It should be the word synergio, where we get the word synergy from. Let me show it to you. Let me break it down. All right? Here we go. Synergio, right? Right here. Well, what is synergio? What does that mean? Hold on, my mouse is tripping. Okay, there we go. All right, what is this? What is synergio? Synergio is where we get the English word synergy from. Okay? It says to cooperate, help, work with, together. Now, I want to show you something. I'm gonna leave this on the screen, but I'm gonna pull something else for you so you can see, right? This, you can read all of this. This is excellent, but I want you to see what this word synergy is. All right, we're giving y'all free game tonight, man. Watch this. Let me zoom in. I'm gonna put you on to game, right? Check this out. Watch this. And it's the phrase, I don't know if you ever heard it, it's the phrase, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Watch this free game. Let me put you on a free game real quick. Check this out. Here we go. Synergy. 1650s cooperation, from modern Latin synergia, from the Greek synergia, which means joint work or working together. Cooperations, assistance, help, from synergos, meaning to working together, related to synergian, which means work together, help another in work. Syn means together. Ergon means work. So work together, things that work together, meaning combined activities of a group, is from 1847. Sense of advanced effectiveness as a result of cooperation is from 1957. Now, let me show you what this thing is real quick. Hold on. Let me give it to y'all so this can help encourage somebody out there. All right. Let me bring it up. Right. And y'all can research this some more on your own to see what it is. All right. Check this out. All right. I'm going to show you this from this website because it gives you the phrase I just referenced. All right. Check it out. The very definition of synergy is the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. All right. Now, this is from a biocare blog, right? For science, right? So in science or in math, all right. Let me give it to you. Let me give you the math. What's the mathematics for today, my brother? Let me give you the mathematics for today, man. Let me give you the math. Check this out. Right? Yo, why is my mouse tripping? Oh, man. I'm trying to give you this information. My mouse is tripping right now. Let me see what's going on. Come on, mouse. Stop acting up, man. Yeah, I don't know why my mouse is tripping right now. All right. Well, I'm going to make it. There we go. I think it's working okay now. All right. So in science or even in math, it's the sum of the parts. The sum of the parts is greater. The sum is greater than the parts by itself, right? So what does this mean for us? Why is this tripping? There we go. What does this mean for us in regards to understanding how this applies to the will of Yah? Well, good, bad, ugly, indifferent. All of these are parts that equal a whole or a sum. And unless you have each one of these components, you can never understand the full will of the Most High, which means you have to make mistakes. You have to have good times. You have to have ugly times. You have to have indifferent times. You have to have times of joy, times of sadness. You have to have all of these things because the sum of all these things is greater than any individual part. But without each individual component, you will never have the sum and totality of his will, and you will never understand his love. His love comes with chastisement. It comes with reward. It comes with mourning. It comes with joy. It comes with indifference. It comes with uncertainty. It comes with steadfast emunah or a foundation. All of these are the multiple components that you need to experience in your life. in its parts, so that the sum of these things are greater than each individual part. You know that if you're going through one phase right now, that it is necessary for you to arrive at your destination, because that works together with the good, that works together with the indifferent, that works together with the joys, the sadness. It works all together with all these components to give you the sum of all parts, which is the love of Yah that works into your life. That's important. Very important. Balance. And my brother Slowful to God says balance. Very, very important. Okay. So for those of you who are going through situations and issues and stuff in life, never let nobody judge you on your circumstance. Always allow yourself to be judged on your character. Because despite what your circumstances look like, it's only temporary, but your character is eternal. Hence, you allow situations to build character that can help you to persevere or weather the storm. But the storm is necessary to appreciate the sunshine. The storm is necessary to give water or sustenance to the things that are buried that needs to grow. So sometimes in your life that you may feel that people have put you in a dark place. People have put you in a place where you feel like they throw dirt on your name. They don't realize that Yah has put the zerah or the seed into you. So that dirt that is thrown on top of you and the storm that rains on top of that dirt is only necessary to allow you to build a foundation, which is your shoresh or the roots. So that way you can sprout out and produce fruit. And the fruit that you produce is not for yourself, but it's for the benefit of others, so that you can work collectively as the husbandmen of the field that Yah has given you. So that way we can be the light unto the nation, to show them the example on how to feed those who are hungry, how to give water to those who are thirsty, and how to provide the example, because we are raised above so we can see further and we can see more with an eagle's eye vision to understand the sum of all things, so that we are the arbitrators between Yah and the people, and we can delegate in righteousness on Yah's will in the earth. But however, if you are not praying correctly or appealing to his will, then all of that is in vain. You must accept that. Okay. All right. Let me not get too deep, man. Let me stop. Okay. Hold on. All right. Let's get into the information, man. All right. Let's get into information. Shout out to Servant and Yah for the donation. Thank you so much, my brother. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button and let's get into this information. All right. So hold off your questions. Let me work out this information. Again, all these sources are available on Patreon, or you can email us. That's coming across the screen and right here. All right. And we can send you these sources. Right. But check this out. Cultural reorientation is what we need. That is the foundation of this walk. Right. Because we have been disconnected from this culture for so long. We need a reorientation. All right. So a lot of times when you guys, those of you who have a job, right, you've gone through the application process, and then the hiring process where you process all your paperwork. And then now you get your orientation. What is the purpose of your orientation? Orientation is to align you from your past experience to the goals and objectives of the current job at hand. Right. So culturally, we have to be reoriented, because the culture that we've been given has disconnected and distanced us from the patron deity that our forefathers have covenanted with. Hence why we have all of these ills via consequences of disobedience, and we are being subjugated to other powers because we have not returned back to the covenant. Covenants are extremely important. All right. Extremely important. All right. Just Call Me Tech says Yachanan is problematic. I disagree. I don't agree that it's problematic. Again, if you take our courses in regards to the holistic research paradigm, we're also going to pick out passages from the Brit Hadashah, because the class is going to cater to those who subscribe to the Brit Hadashah and those who don't. We simply want to give anybody the tools who is engaged in this culture to be able to decipher what it is that they're reading. And even if the book of John seems problematic, it really isn't. If you go through cultural reorientation, everything will make sense. And if you understand there are Aramaisms listed in there, it makes things more clear. And I gave you a book, Was the New Testament Really Written in Greek? Go back and check that book out, because it gives you some examples in the book of John, what helps you to culturally reorient the approach that you take to understanding what the text is saying. It's very difficult to get in the Greek. Extremely difficult. All right. So thank you for that. Stack says hit the share button, family, too. Everybody else needs this information. I agree. All right, I agree. All right. New Hope says, why are you stopping? Because I wasn't trying to go in like that tonight. I want to share some information with y'all. That's why I stopped. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I thank you guys for enjoying it. You know, I appreciate it. I admire and value your feedback. All right. Whether it's positive or constructive feedback. You know, I'm subjugating myself to it. I do this to serve you guys, and I appreciate that. All right. So let me get this information. So now let me go put y'all through cultural reorientation. All right. Again, the two things that are important in this walk is culture and identity. They are inseparable, and you need both in order for you to understand spirituality. Your culture and identity dictates your spirituality. Your culture and identity dictates your spirituality. So if those two things are jacked up and you're trying to get to the patron deity that has, you know, infused his covenant within this cultural literature that you have today, and you're trying to get in alignment with it, it's not going to work if you're trying to get in alignment through the presuppositions and dogmas that you've been taught. It's going to keep you in misalignment, You're going to keep missing the mark and wonder why am I missing the mark? Why is this not happening? Why is this not working? Why is this going on? Because you don't understand as well, because your culture has not been reoriented. You don't know who you are. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't know why you're here. Okay, we want to restore that. Thank you to my brother Ile E for the donation. I appreciate that, my brother. That's KHMDMV in the building. All right. Dwayne said Divine gets excited when he starts preaching. All right, so let's get into the information, man. All right, come on. We are an hour and a half in. Let's get into the information. All right, I appreciate the feedback, family. All right, so look, first up, let me show you these. All of these are invaluable books, and these books are important in order for you to go through the cultural reorientation process. All right, so I'm about to give y'all tons of great references that you guys need to go back and check out. All right, so first I'm gonna start off with this book here. Again, my mouse is still tripping. I don't know why my mouse is tripping. Is getting me upset, but okay. So look, let me show you this, right? Pull up on my screen real quick. Come on, mouse, stop tripping, man. The people want the information, all right? Let me zoom in so y'all can see if y'all on a cell phone. All right, so this is page 65, and we're gonna remember that. We're gonna go back to it. All right, let me show you this book real quick. It's called Manners and Customs of the Bible by James M. Freeman. Manners and Customs of the Bible by James M. Freeman. Everybody here should have this book in your repertoire. It's like the Cultural Background Study Bible by Zondervan Publishing. Everybody needs to have that book in your arsenal. You need that book, okay? And then I'm going to show you several other books that, again, is part of the reorientation process, getting you back into the culture so you can make sense of the text. All right, it uses culture to explain spiritual things. If you don't understand the culture, then you're adding your own contemporary ideas and connotations to things you're reading in the text. And if you only are reading it at the surface level from English with English Christian commentaries, you all going to be all thrown off. Okay, now let me show you why this book is invaluable. It's an oldie but goodie, but it's invaluable, right? Let me show you something real quick. All right, let's get through the preface, right? Let me get through the preface real quick. See if we have the preface in here. All right, this is an extremely long book, as you can see. All right, the preface is, through the Bible, though the Bible is adapted to all nations, again, that's the Christian thing, but let's keep reading. It is in many aspects an Oriental book. It represents the modes of thought, and this is a Christian writing this, and peculiar customs of people who, and their habits, widely differ from us. One who lived among them for many years has graphically said, modes, customs, usages, all that you can set down to the score of the national, the social, or the conventional, are precisely as different from yours as the East is different from the West. They sit when you stand, they lie when you sit, when you use water, they do to the head what you do to the feet. They use fire when you use water. You shave the beard, they shave the head. You move the hat, they touch the breast. You use the lips in salutation, they touch the forehead and the cheek. Your house looks outward, their house looks inward. You go out to take a walk, they go up to enjoy the fresh air. You drain your land, they sigh for water. You bring your daughters out, they keep their daughters and wives in. Your ladies go barefaced through the streets. Their ladies are always covered, right? This is from the Jordan and the Rhyme by W. Graham, page 4. The Oriental customs of today are mainly the same as those of ancient times. It is said by a recent writer that the classical world has passed away. We must reproduce it if we wish to see it as it was. While this fact must be remembered in the interpretation of some New Testament passages, it is nevertheless true that many ancient customs still exist in their primitive integrity. If a knowledge of the Oriental customs is essential to a right understanding of the numerous scripture passages, it is a cause of rejoicing that these customs are so stereotyped in their character that we have but to visit the Bible lands of the present day to see the modes of life of patriarchal times. This is a Christian writiness. Unless you have lived amongst these people who kept these customs for thousands of years, or you understand the material culture from the archaeological excavations that help to reconstruct these customs as well, that you see that shows up in the non-material culture, which is the literature. Without this knowledge, you cannot understand the text. You cannot be an Israelite unless you're reoriented back to the culture. And Christians who study the culture understand, like, whoa, before I understood the culture, I thought I knew this Bible. I don't know nothing about this Bible and didn't know nothing about this Bible until I went and studied the customs and the culture. Gentiles even understand it. How much so we need to revert back to understanding that so we can find a contemporary way to applying them today. People gave me a lot of flack for talking about casting lots and pouring libations and making a shrine and, you know, creating a stone pillar or all, like, these are customs. Giving gifts of pistachios and almonds. These are customs that we have lost because of captivity. When we return back to these customs, it helps to reorient us along with the foundational statute laws and commandments of the cultural mandates that gives us a clear passage and a clear frequency back to Yah. Okay, so let's go to page 65. I want to show you something, right? And again, this is a very extensive page that goes into 10 parts. It goes into tons and tons of customs, man. Like, I can't even stress how valuable this is, all right? So look, let me show you this. Let's go back. Uplifted hands. I'll read this too. Bereshit 14:22. And Abram said to King of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto Adonai, the Most High Power, the possessor of heaven and earth. This was Abram's method of taking a solemn oath, a mode still practiced in the East and to some extent in the West. It is said in Yeshayahu, Isaiah 62:8, Yah has sworn by his right hand. See also Daniel 12:7, Revelation 10:5-6, blah, blah, blah. Now, mind you, it's a Christian, a westernized Christian, that is reorienting back to the Eastern customs to understand how to interpret the text. How much so do we? We got to reclaim these things, right? So look at this. I want to get into this to you. This is deep. Look at this. Tent door, time of rest. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. The door of the tent is a fold of the lower part of the tent, which is fastened by a loop to the post nearby. It may thus be opened or closed at pleasure. For the sake of light and air, it is generally thrown back during the day. Noon is the hour of rest among the Orientals. When the sun is at its height, the wind often becomes softer and the heat more oppressive. Then the dwellers in tents may be seen sitting in the door or reclining in the shade of the tent. And it's also the hour for dinner. See Bereshit 43:16-25. Some travelers say that the Arabs eat by the door of the tent in order to notice the stranger passing by and to invite him to eat with them. In the case mentioned in the text, Abraham had probably dined and was resting after dinner. You see this? Bowing hospitality. This is what I want to show y'all. Bereshit 18:2-3. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself towards the ground and said, Adon, right? Adoni, my Lord, my master, if now I have found favor in your sight, pass not away, I pray you, from your servant. There are different modes of bowing in the East. In this case, the word is shachar, denotes complete prostration of the body. And the person falls upon the knees and then gradually inclines the body until the head touches the ground. There is in this text a beautiful illustration of Oriental hospitality. The company of travelers is solicited as a personal favor to the host, and all the resources of the establishment are used for their entertainment. Modern travelers often refer to the earnestness with which this hospitality is urged upon them at the present day. It is not always, however, to be regarded as unselfish. In many instances, a return being expected from the traveler who was thus entertained. A recent writer says Arabs are still as fond as ever of exercising the virtue of hospitality. As they practice it, it is a lucrative speculation. The Bidal Sheikh, knowing that he must not nowadays expect to entertain angels unawares, takes a special care to entertain only such as can pay around some for the accommodation or give their host a good dinner in return. The casual and the punctilious stranger may, it is true, claim the traditional 3 days board and lodging, but he must be content with the scraps which fall from the rich man's table and prepared to hear very outspoken hints of the undesirability of his presence. Now, let me give you an example. Now, matter of fact, let me bring up the scripture real quick so I can explain to you when you read the text. Those of you who subscribe to Brit Hadashah, let me show you something in here, right? All right, check this out. Jay Humble says, where I signed for the course. Again, until the flyer is out, it's tentative. Once the flyer is done, then I will advertise the course. And if you're part of the Patreon, the link to the Zoom session will be in the Patreon. And if you pay for it a la carte outside of Patreon, we will email you the link so you can join into it. But that's once the flyer is done and we can promote it. And then we'll have the date where you guys can sign up for it. But we're going to do a free introduction to it on this channel before we go private with it. All right. But let me show you something in the text real quick. Something interesting in the text, right? All right, check this out. Some of you might be familiar with this as well, right? Watch this. Again, we're talking about hospitality, right? In the East. Check this out. All right. Hebrew 13:1 says, let brotherly love continue. Okay. And it says, hold on, let me switch it here. All right. Let brotherly love continue. Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. That word angels comes from the word messenger in the Hebrew. You have entertained messenger. How do you know you entertain a divine messenger from the Most High? Well, that is one of the customs that they perform, hospitality, because it was the belief that some of these strangers were who? Messengers, like we see in Abraham's case. The writer of Hebrews is making a reference to a custom that goes back to Abraham entertaining strangers and solicited them to come into his tent so that way he can take care of these strangers, right? Because that was part of the custom. And in return, they assisted him with his nephew Lot. You see, when you get into the customs, you start to be able to better interpret what the passages are saying. Okay. All right. You're following me so far? Let me know. I got a couple more books I want to show you some references from. Hit 1 if you want me to keep going. If the audio and visual is on point and you want me to keep going, hit 1. All right? Hit 1. All right? The name of the book is Manners and Customs in the Bible by James Freeman. All right? If you guys want this, again, you can go on the Patreon. This book is on the Patreon, or you can email us and we can send it to you, or go to Amazon and you can purchase it for yourself. All right? So just hit 1 if you want me to keep going. This is invaluable information, free game, invaluable information to better interpret this text. Without this information, I'm telling you, you might as well just throw that book away. Flush out what you thought you knew. These classes is going to give you cultural reorientation. I'm just giving you little ways on how we do it, because then we go into the language, we go into the customs, we go into geography, we go into the diet, we go to the understanding of animals, of botany, the understanding of botany during that time, harvest, trade routes. We go into topographical information. We go into trades. We go into the political stresses, societal stresses. We go to acculturation with neighboring societies. Like, these are all the things that we must ask, we must understand in order for us to understand this text. So much dogma has distanced ourselves from it that Gentiles that go back to the custom say, man, I thought we knew this Bible, but we don't know it until we go back to the culture. These are Gentiles telling you, right? Shout out to Royal Gem in the building. Anita Williams, shalom. Lovely Joy says, can you show the book cover? Okay, I'll show it again. No problem. Let's get back to it. I'll finish with the book. I'm going to jump into another book, but if you want to see the cover, I'll get back to the cover for you. All right. Here it is. Manners and Customs of the Bible by James M. Freeman. Again, you can email us and we can get it to you. You can sign up for the Patreon and get access to this and tons of other books that we have on here and articles. Or you can order it for yourself off of Amazon for those of you who want the physical book. All right. Manners and Customs of the Bible by James M. Freeman. Excellent, excellent book. All right. When I say this is excellent, I mean this is invaluable. You need this book. It goes into granaries, sacks of two kinds, Egyptian dinners, forms of salutation, bread, the principal food, earrings, presents, covenant stones, camels, furniture, a tabret and harp, the teraphim, the elder first, the marriage feast, the bride's bought or the dowry, the use of wine, burnings on the head, the birthday feast, loud weeping, the bowl, prisons, captain of the guard, eyes closed, hatred of shepherds, the Nile water, ashes used in cursing, the outstretched hand. I mean, family, this goes into how many customs, man? Let me go through. Let's see how many customs it goes through. It goes through 893 customs. And this is 1,169 pages. This book is no joke. All right. No, but it's an excellent read. You won't put it down once you keep reading it. All right. All right. So let me move forward. Let's get to the next book. Okay. All right. All right. So let's get to the next book. Let me show you something else from another book. All right. That I know you guys will enjoy. All right. Let me zoom in. All right. Let me go. This is page 11. All right. So look, let me show you this other book. All right. This here goes into climate and vegetation. All right. And this book here, let me show you the cover of it. It's called The Old Testament World by John Rogerson and Philip Davies. All right. Completely revised and expanded. Okay. The Old Testament World. All right. So now, if you go to here, I was going to the land and climate and vegetation, but I want to go to climate and vegetation. I want to show you something. All right. All right. Well, I mean, you can go back and read the land portion. It says, visitors who go to modern Israel in the summer, June to September, are sometimes surprised to discover a landscape bare of grass and flowers. And again, it depends on what part of Israel you go to, okay? Except where there has been artificial watering. In fact, the growing cycle there is very different from that of Europe or North America, where the winter months are dead because months because of the cold. It is cold in the winter months in modern Israel too, although the average temperature in Jerusalem in January is around 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, compared with an average for Sheffield in northern England of 3 degrees Celsius or 34 degrees Fahrenheit. What is decisive in modern Israel is the fact that rains fall only from October to April, and that the ground temperature in these months is high enough to encourage growth. From May to September, there's no rain and the soil dries out completely under the hot sun, producing the brown and bare effect that sometimes disappoints visitors in these months. The distribution of rain varies in different regions. In the Dead Sea area, annual rainfall is 4 inches, whereas in Jerusalem is 22 inches. The southern, and this is all has to do with the topography and geographical location and the landscape, which affects the weather, okay, and the rainfall. While Upper Galilee has an annual rainfall of 28 inches. Thus, there is a tendency for rain to increase as one goes northward. This is why I told you in the north is where you have more of the horticulture, more of the agriculture. In the south, towards the Negev, is where you have more pastoralism. It's based on the climate. It's based on the locale. Okay? However, there's evidence to suggest that the rains were more unreliable in areas of lower rainfall than areas of higher rainfall. Reliability of rainfall was also an important factor in Old Testament times. Ideally for agriculture, the early rains, Hebrew yoreh, came in October, softening the hard-baked earth sufficiently for plowing and planting. The main rain, 70% of the total, then fell in December to February, and the season ended with the latter rain, the Hebrew malkosh, which gave a final boost to the maturing of the crops. Unfortunately, the ideal occurs only a third of the time. For about another third of the time, the winter consists of the alternation of wet and dry spells. Other patterns include a wet early season followed by dry weather and an early dry season followed by a late wet season. The latter is particularly unhelpful to agriculture, as it is almost impossible, or was in Old Testament times, to plow the hard-baked soil until the first rains had softened it. In view of the variability of rainfall from year to year, it's not surprising that the rain at proper times were considered to be a blessing from the Most High. Vayikra 26:4, Leviticus 26:4, and the word family occurs frequently. Genesis 12:10, Ruth 1:1. Given that 70% of the rainfall is ideally concentrated into 3 months, it is clear that the rains, when they do fall, are heavy. For example, Sheffield, located in one of the rainier areas of England, has an average annual rainfall of just over 31.5 inches, but this is distributed over 12 months. If 70% of Jerusalem is 21.5 inches, falls in 3 months, this gives about 5 inches for each of those months compared to 3.5 inches for Shephel's wettest month. Furthermore, even that amount in Jerusalem is concentrated into no more than 50 days. Thus, when it rains in the wettest month, the rain is very heavy indeed. This has implications for the soil and for the retention of moisture in a land characterized by many hills and valleys. All right. And it even gives you see this? It even gives you a map and shows you the locations in these areas, right, in regards to the rainfall. All right. And it says here, the modern visitor to Israel in the West Bank sees a land whose hills are often bare, except where forests have been planted in recent times or where terracing is in use. In Old Testament times, the landscape looked very different. In the hills of Galilee and in Samaria, Bethel and Hebron hills, there were forests and the evergreen oak, Quercus caliprinos, the Dudicious, the deciduous, oak, Quercus ithemberensis, and the pine, Pinus halapensis, along with their associated undergrowth. Of these trees, the evergreen oak predominated, especially in mountainous areas. Thus, the initial force of the where's the rest of it? How I just cut off right there. Hold on. Of the heavy rains, here we go, was broken by the leaves of the evergreen oaks, and the moisture was retained by the root systems of the undergrowth. With the clearing of the forests, however, there was nothing to prevent the heavy rains from washing the soil from the side of the hills into the valleys, thus producing the sort of bare landscape familiar to modern visitors to some parts of the country. So pretty much what they're telling you is because of deforestation and other industrialized endeavors in the land of Israel, what we see today is much different than what the landscape was in the past. And if you understand the landscape, you understand the hills, the rainfall, the geographic locations, then you know when certain passages are referenced to the rains in its time or their latter rains, you know the importance of these things and this cultural environment. So then you can apply the spiritual application of it. You know, when we get in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, where it says there's a time and a season for everything, well, that's what it's talking about. For the rains, there's a time and a season for the rains. And the latter rains are important because that's the last heavy rainfall in certain areas that you'll be able to capture and utilize. This is why you dig deep wells. When you don't have deep wells, or when enemies come in and they throw sand into your wells, you cannot capture water, and therefore you have thirst. You dehydrate. See, this is the environment in which they lived in, which is much different than what we live in today. All right. And again, this map right here shows us the forested areas of ancient Palestine at 1200 BCE, right? We have some in Moab, Carmel, Lachish, and Shephelah over here, the Judean hills near Bethlehem, Bethel Hills, Samaria Hills in the north, Megiddo, Jezreel, Beth Shean. All right, we have some over here towards Jordan, Shihor, Leibnath. Over here we have, you know, these gray areas is all heavy forestation. But now today, some of this looks different because of what people are doing in the land today. This is why I tell people, if they were keeping the statutes, laws, commandments in the land of Israel today, right? They would have respected the land. They would have lived in harmony with the land, right? They would not have affected the landscape because Yah created it in a way so that way he can produce, provided they're in this covenant. But now it can't happen because there are things they're doing in the land that's not keeping the statutes, laws, commandments. And because of deforestation and other industrialized projects, they are terraforming the landscape, thereby moving the people on the land out of covenant with the Creator. Because now he cannot provide the rain as he promised, and the soil can't get what it needs because man is coming in and domineering and changing the landscape. Thereby, he is violating the covenant. And plus, the land is not even resting. This is deep. Okay. I got a few more books and I'm done. All right. A few more books and I'm done. If you want me to keep going, let me know. We're already at 1 hour and 58 minutes. If you want me to keep going, hit one. Hit one if you want me to keep going. If not, I'll stop here. All right. Hit one if you want me to keep going. If not, I will stop here. Let me know. I got 3 more books I want to show you all real quick. Again, when we do our classes, these are the things that we're going to look at. When we look at passages, we're going to look at all of this biblical data with extra biblical data and try to harmonize it to get a better overall picture of what's going on. All right. All right. Somebody asking what book this is. All right. Let me show you again. Here's the book. It's called The Old Testament World by John Rogerson. When I tell y'all my library is lit, my library is lit. I get all types of hidden gems and books and just read them. You know what I'm saying? And then I have access to university libraries where I get access to certain books because I have to pay to rent it or whatever, take it out. virtually, especially now because of COVID, that I read as well. Some of those books I can't furnish for y'all because I'm not allowed to. However, I can speak on them. Right. Next time I'll get those books and I'll make reference to those for you, because there's great books you can get from several of these universities. One of them is Emory University out here in Atlanta. All right. All right. Royal Gem is like, Ron, you know, we want you to keep going. All right, cool. But when people complain that this video is too long, it's because of y'all. All right. So Stack says, Divine got a library like the Vatican. I wish I had a library like that. If I ever get access to the library, everybody in our community will have access to the library. Y'all be able to see it vicariously through me. That's my word. If I ever get access to it. All right. All right, family. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Share this video for you. Maybe you can't use it. Maybe someone else can use it. If you want to support the ministry, the information is in the description below. And if you need any assistance from us or you want any of these references, you can sign up for our Patreon or just simply email us and we'll get it over to you. Okay. Somebody says the video is out. Okay, let me check to see what's going on. Hold on. Is the video still not working? I see it's still going here. Is the video working? Is the video working, family? Let me know that. I can see it on my end on YouTube. I'm not sure why it went out for some of y'all. Let me know if the video's still working. Is it working? Okay. All right. All right. So let's keep going. All right. Lovely Joy. Sis, listen, anything you hear me mention, just y'all can email me to get it, or you can go to the Patreon where I add tons of books on there all the time. There's tons of books on the Patreon, tons of articles on the Patreon, tons of exclusive content on Patreon. I want to make my library accessible to the public. All right. Everything that I've acquired through diligent researching and collecting and searching and seeking for, and money out of my pocket, and even donations. I use some of those donations to buy books that I can again give back to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I do what I can, and I try to build this library to give it back to y'all. Right. So that way I don't have any hidden hands. I give you everything that I work with. When you guys go through this course, all the tools that I use to get the objective understanding of the text, y'all will have too. So you're not only going to have the library with the data, you're also going to have the methodology, right? So in my absence, you guys can use the information to get understanding, to teach, to share. You know what I'm saying? To come back and teach me stuff. All right, that's what it is. All right, no problem, sis. Anytime. All right, so let's get to the next book. Okay, here's another book. Again, these hidden gems is crazy, man. When you see these books, some of you are probably like, I didn't even know these books existed. What the heck is going on? All right. Check this out. Here's another book. Let me show it to y'all on the screen. Hold on. Let me show it to you on the screen. All right. Check this out. Right. This is one of my favorite books right here. It's called Bedouin Culture in the Bible. This is the passage on hurting. Unfortunately, this doesn't have page numbers, so I don't want to lose it in the process. But let me go back up. Well, actually, hurting. I could go back up. Let me show you the cover. All right. This is also available on the Patreon, or you can email us for it. It's called Bedouin Culture in the Bible by Clinton Bailey. Excellent book. Let me read you some of the preface as well. Again, these are Gentile Christians that are going back, and they are saying that, hey, when I go back to the culture, it explains everything. Okay. All right. He says, in the late summer of 1970, I was living in the heart of the Negev desert at the fledgling educational institution called Mireshet Sedei Boker, from where I conducted ethnographic research into the Bedouin culture, the culture of nomadic dwellers in the desert. One Sunday, as I sat in my study preparing a lecture that I was to present to a conference the following Friday, a Bedouin friend of Swalim Abu Bilaya of the nearby Azaz-Ma Sarahin tribe knocked on my door. Having not seen him for a while, I was happy at his visit. I prepared some tea, which I served him as we sat facing each other over my desk. Before drinking it, however, he suddenly surprised me by asking, "Why are you angry with me?" "Angry? Why do you think I'm angry?" I replied. "Because you haven't visited our tent for many weeks," he stated with a somber demeanor. I haven't visited you I explained, because I've been busy with a project I must finish by this Friday, but I have no reason to be angry with you, and I shall be honored to visit you on Saturday. My friend Swileem seemed pleased with my explanation, drank his tea, and left. 2 days later, on Tuesday, however, he returned to my house, and after I prepared him some tea and we were seated in my modest study about the chat, he looked at me gravely and said, "You must be angry with me. Otherwise, you would not postpone your visit till Saturday." Again, I explained that I needed every spare moment to finish my project, which was due on Friday, and he must not attribute my absence from his tent to anger or anything else. He nodded in agreement, drank his tea. On Thursday afternoon, however, he came yet again, and once more we drank tea. By this time, when he began complaining about my absence, I decided to get away from my desk for a bit. "Where are you camped?" I asked. "Over the hills to the west," he said. "Did you come here by foot or by camel?" "By foot." "Good," I proclaimed. "I will take you back to my Jeep." When we arrived in Swalim's encampment, he insisted that I drink coffee in his tent and keep him with Bedouin custom. The subtle late afternoon light of the desert and the sight of Swalim's wife at her ground loom weaving a long strip of black goat hair for the roof of their winter tent created a pastoral atmosphere that seduced me to comply. Coffee would not take me much time. Upon entering the tent, however, I was quite astonished. Gathered there were some 20 to 30 men, clansmen and neighbors, rose to receive me, obliging me to pass among them from right to left, shaking each one's extended hand and uttering the accepted greetings. Then I was seated on a carpet next to the elder of Swalim's clan and was offered the traditional 3 tiny china cups of bitter black coffee. When I finished the drinking and announced my intention to leave, Swalim suddenly appeared before me, his hands stretched, drenched in sheep's blood. "You can't leave now," he said. "We just butchered your dinner. You can't leave till after you've eaten." Aware of the revered rules of Bedouin hospitality, I resumed my place on the carpet and stayed. But I was angry. Preparing and cooking a sheep would take at least 3 hours, time I could hardly afford to lose if I wished to finish writing my lecture by morning. In any case, I passed the interim in conversation with all those present, but when the bowls of mutton were finally served, I still miffed by what I considered an imposition, indecorously took one bite to fulfill my obligation and rose to leave. At that, all the company shouted, "Where do you think you're going?" I answered, "I've eaten. I'm going back to work." "You can't leave now," they protested. "We want to talk to you. We've just been talking for 3 hours," I pointed out. "Yes, but now we want to talk to you about something serious." What was serious to my companions was a favor they wished to ask of me. The time had come for them to circumcise their sons before they attained the age of 13, as prescribed by Islamic faith, and they wanted to hold a month-long circumcision party in a special encampment. All right, so I'm not going to read all of it. You can get the book and read it. But he says here, "For me, nonetheless, this experience with Bedouin co-option through a gift proved an epiphany. It opened my eyes to the possibility of finding many features of Bedouin life that are relevant for understanding events and facets of desert life depicted in the Bible. In this specific case, it at once clarified what happened to the biblical forefather Abraham in an episode I read as a child. There, the patriarch tried to obligate Abimelech, reportedly a Philistine, but arguably a prominent chief in the northern Negev, just south of ancient Philistia, to recognize his ownership of a well that he had dug the previous year, but that Abimelech's shepherds had seized. As the Bible relates, Abraham took the issue with Abimelech over the well, blah, blah, blah. It was this insight into a quite minor biblical event that led me eventually to write the present book. Although I'm not a professional biblicist, but rather a curious Bible reader who hoped to find further similarities between Bedouin life and events and what is called the Hebrew Bible, I used the 45 years that I had spent often living among Bedouins in the Sinai and Negev deserts, studying witnesses and taking part in their lives to suggest new insights that might elucidate our traditional understanding of much in the biblical text. I also felt that an abundance of these insights might enlighten us regarding the possibility that many of the ancient Israelites, as the Bible depicts them, were in fact nomadic or of nomadic heritage, that is, not mere fabrications constructed anciently by the Bible's authors, as several modern biblicists maintain. So what he's saying is, when you go back and study today the lives of Bedouins who have kept customs for thousands of years, it aligns with what we read in the Bible, which means that it was not something that was written by some random group of people that did not understand the culture within its context. And a lot of it we have excavated through archaeological digs to confirm the things that we've seen that these Bedouins still do today. All right, so look at this. He goes into the Bedouin and ancient and unchanging culture, but I wanted to get to, I wanted to show y'all about rainfall. You can get into that. We read a little bit about that in manners and customs. I wanted to get into, where is it at? People of livestock. You see camels drinking, all right? You see right here. He has tons of images in here too, right? He shows you here, look, this is a picture of a shepherdess, a female shepherdess with a flock of goats and sheep. You see this? All right, it says, accordingly, we find that these three types of livestock are accurately attributed to the desert-dwelling nomadic patriarchs, right? Scroll up, it tells you here, right? The goat, for example, can raise its body temperature up to 20 degrees Fahrenheit on a hot day, and its coat of black hair protects it from radiation by deflecting the sun's rays. Similarly, an Awasi sheep, by concentrating most of its body fat in its tail, facilitates the exit of heat from elsewhere in its body, thus reducing its need to sweat. In sum, all of the Bedouins' livestock need to drink relatively small quantities, making it possible to maintain them in an arid desert. As compared to a cow, for example, which needs 20 gallons a day in hot weather, sheep and goats only need 4 gallons, and a camel only 11 to 16 gallons every 2 or 3 days. All right. This is why you have wells. This is why there are springs that are found within these deserts that create oasis, that create a grazing pasture for flocks, and also provides the water necessary for you to give to these animals. But these animals have learned to cope in these environments, all right? So accordingly, we find that these three types of livestock are accurately attributed to desert-dwelling nomadic patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Evidence of camels found in the Middle East, Eastern desert goes back to the 2nd millennium BCE and the domestication to the 13th century BCE, when the prototypes of the biblical patriarchs may have been part of a notable immigration to Canaan from Aram, such as that identified by the historian Andre Lemaire. All right. As to black goats, the patriarch Isaac's wife Rebekah, when plotting to have her son Jacob, watch this, and I went over this with somebody earlier today, usurp his older twin brother's blessings from their dim-sighted father, applied the hair of 2 young goat kids to the former's arms to simulate the hairy arms of the latter. When Jacob subsequently seeks to placate Esau for his misdeed, he does it with a gift of 200 she-goats and 200 billies, 200 ewes, 20 rams, and 20 milk camels with their coats. 2 generations earlier, as seen in the introduction, Abraham, when trying to induce Abimelech into letting him own the well he had dug at Beersheba, gave him 7 ewe lambs. Okay, I'm gonna stop from here. But if you can get this book, you can read the rest into detail, right? What we have to assess from this is something interesting. When I told this guy, Jeremiah Judah, 7,000, in regards to Leviticus 17:7, I said, what's the word there for devils in the Hebrew? It goes back to the word goat. Why is that significant? Then I put up the article that I showed y'all when I was on out of town in DMV, the article that goes into the importance of goats, the relevance of goats, right? And then why certain goats are worshipped as idols, or even goats themselves are worshipped and what they represent. And you see the significance of goats when we get to Leviticus chapter 16. If you don't understand the importance of goats by studying Bedouin cultures and understanding the things that they attribute to goats, their attributes or characteristics of being fertile, being crafty, etc., then you don't understand why goats are representative of certain deities. And why some people will give a sacrifice to a goat, because what that sacrifice represents by giving to a goat. Some animals are held sacred in certain traditions. And when typically there is a group of young kids or goats that are produced, you have more females that are produced than males, because male goats are used for sacrifices. The female goats are used for sustainability. You understand this when you get back into the Bedouin culture, and these things make sense when you look at certain sacrifices, because you see that male goats are very valuable, just like male lambs are very valuable, especially ones without spot, without blemish, almost rare to get, and they are extremely valuable. And what you get from that is what you give back to the patron deity, because it's a form of your sustenance that you're now sacrificing to the deity, because the deity is the one that gave you it in the first place. All right, so let me stop that. Let's go into another book, right? Let's go into another book, all right? Here's the last 2 books I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to end off on this. If you have any questions, let me know, all right? Mind of Joshua says, I love Middle Eastern culture. We are the walking embodiment of Israelites and Israelite culture. Great book. Yes, these customs will culturally reorient you back to who you are by way of your ancestors. And you cannot apply anything spiritual in the text unless you understand the culture. And I'll fight anybody on that. I'll debate anybody on that. People say, no, your spirituality dictates your culture. No. Your culture dictates your spirituality. And anybody want to debate that, we can debate that. It's very simple. All right. So watch this, right? Cultural and biological anthropology. Yes, sir. That's what we utilize here. Okay. So Dennis, it merely only mentions spring, summer, and winter. There's no fall. There's no real fall. All right. It's really like summer and winter. And summer consists of spring and summer. Winter consists of what we call fall and winter. But they would really call it summer and they will call it winter. Right. But again, these books go into detail about this and explains it to you. All right. Let me bring up another book. Right. Another hidden gem. All right. Here we go. This is another good book, right? Again, this don't have pages, but this is on 9. Let me scroll up. Let me show it to you. Another gem. Here you go. Check it out. Check this one out. Okay. This one is called The World Around the Old Testament, The People and Places of the Near East, edited by Bill T. Arnold and Brent A. Strawn. Okay. Now, this is a collection of articles by various people in academia or scholars that write on various things. Like here you see, let me zoom in for you so you can see. Okay, here we have one on the Amorites, one on Syrians, Babylonians, Ugaridians, Egypt and the Egyptians, Hittites and the Hurrians, Aram and the Arameans, Phoenician and Phoenicians, the Transjordan, which I was trying to show you, which is the Ammonites, Moabites, and the Edomites, Philistia and the Philistines, Persian and Persians, Arabian and Arabians, Greece and the Greeks. All right, let's click on 309. Transjordan, right, region. This is where the Israelites were at, right? When they exited out of Egypt, Kemet, Mizraim, they did not dwell in the Sinai Peninsula. They were in northwest Arabia, in the Transjordan region, where they encountered the Ammonites, the Moabites, and the Edomites. Because we don't have an influx of Ammonites, Moabites, and Edomites that have been excavated from the Sinai Peninsula. However, we do have that excavational findings of these cultures in the Transjordan region or northwest Arabia, or the part where the Sinai Peninsula meets the rest of the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, very interesting stuff. It says most prominent amongst Israel's neighbors east of the Jordan were the Ammonites, Moabites, and Edomites. Like the Israelites, they shared in a common cultural heritage rooted in Syria, Palestine's Bronze Age past, while asserting distinct identities recognized in biblical, epigraphic, and archaeological sources. During the exceptional circumstances of the Iron Age, independent regional kingdoms associated with these peoples thrived briefly, eventually giving way to the returning dominance of greater powers and successive eras of advancing imperialism that shaped the Near East for the rest of the first millennium BCE. Let me put you on the game. So the Shashu were believed to be semi-nomadic tribes that lived on the periphery or the outskirts of society, right? Or what Egypt deemed as society. A lot of these Shashu lived in the Transjordan and Jordan regions, okay? When the Israelites were leaving out, the reason why they took the route they took is the Most High says, I'm not going to take them directly into the land, but I'm going to take them along this path, 40 years in the wilderness, especially based on the disobedience, and he's going to take them to a path that goes around into Jordan, crosses the Jordan River, and into Canaan. Why? Several reasons. Number one, he says, I'm going to take them this route because I need to test them in the wilderness to see if they're going to obey my commandments. That's number one. Number two, he took them there because there was something called the path or the way of Heru, which was a route that the pharaohs took when advancing from Egypt to go into Canaan. If they went along that route, they would have encountered not only a bunch of vassal kings and groups under those vassal kings, but also encountered various pharaohs that are traveling that route. And within those 40 years, they would have been warring and fighting more than they did, and they would have been overcome. And they wouldn't have learned to depend on Yah, because that route takes you to the coastal plains, which you're closer to the Mediterranean Sea, and the land is more forgiving. It yields more to you, right? So you have better sustenance. You're not going to be dependent upon manna and quails like you are in the wilderness. And that term wilderness by Midbar actually means pasture, because it's not a desert in the sense we think of the Sahara. These were places that had an arid environment, right? Where the land was pretty dry. However, there was oasis. This is how people survive in desert areas. They go from oasis to oasis, pasture to pasture, and there's routes that connect these pastures. All right. Again, when we do these classes, we get into these cultural things that get you to understand what is going on. All right. Wait, what? Goat worship in Israelite culture. How was that justified if we were commanded to only worship Yah? Please edify me. I don't quite understand. I didn't condone goat worship. let me bring up the verse. I'm not sure. Maybe you misunderstood, or maybe you didn't see the last live that I did. Maybe you didn't see the last live. So I'm assuming that it's a misunderstanding. No problem. All right. Let me show you what we're talking about. Okay. Watch this. And I never said that we should sacrifice the goats. I never said that. I'm not sure how you got that from what I said, but I'll clear it up right now. Right. On your screen here, it says, and the priest shall throw the blood on the altar of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh at the entrance of the tent of the meeting and burn the fat for a pleasing aroma to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. So they shall no more sacrifice their sacrifices to goat demons, after whom they whore. This shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. And you shall say to them, any one of the house of Israel or the stranger who join among them, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice and does not bring it to the entrance of the tent of the meeting to offer it to Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, that man should be cut off from his people. This is the verse right here, Leviticus 17:7. I never said that the Israelites were supposed to be sacrificing the goat demons. The Most High gave them a ritual and prescriptions that are connected to his covenant so that they wouldn't sacrifice the goats or goat demons, because that was a Semitic culture. Custom that was performed. That even if you go back and look into Avaris, they had a lot of goats there, and there was even some earlier forms of goat worship that was happening there, because the people were disconnected from the Creator within those 400 years of being in Avaris or Goshen. So I never condoned goat worship. I never said. I'm not sure where you got that from, my brother. I'm not sure where you got that from. But hopefully that clears it up. All right. So Eli Yisrael is 364. Just type it in the chat, and other people put it in the chat as well. It's 30064. You'll be able to find it by using that, okay? And Royal Jen, it was okay. I know it was a misunderstanding. Did that answer your question? Let me know. Facts, Kevin. Did that answer your question? Let me know if that answered your question, Royal Gem. I want to make sure you're following. I don't want nothing I'm saying to be misconstrued, because that happens a lot when I teach things get misconstrued. But I thank you for asking, I'm saying, for clarity. All right. So let me get back to these books so we can finish. All right. So this book goes into Transjordan and its early history, so you can understand, the Ammonites, the Edomites, and the Moabites. And remember, these are the three ethnic groups that are actually related to Israel based on an eponymous ancestor that we find in the book of Bereshit or Genesis. Okay. And there's a reason why the Israelites posit a close affinity to these groups. They weren't even supposed to war with these groups when they was coming out the land going into Canaan. The Most High said, leave the Ammonites alone, leave the Moabites and leave them alone. Pass around and leave them alone, keep going. Same thing with the Edomites, leave them alone. Why? Because Esau is your brother. That's what the text says. Right? And Devarim, Esau is your brother. All right. So let me get you another book. This book, you can look it up yourself. The other book I really want y'all to see is this one right here. This is an excellent book, right? Check this book out. Another book. And it's the last one. Is it the last one? No. I got two more books and I'm done. All right. Shout out to Free Brew, Anava in the building. What's going on? Oh, okay. No problem, Royal Jen. No problem. No problem. All right. All right. So check this out. Let me show you this next book. Okay. This one goes into regions and routes in the Levant. All right. I'm going to come back to it in a second. Let me show you what the name of this book is. Okay. The name of this book is called Behind the Scenes of the Old Testament, Cultural, Social, and Historical Context. Edited by Jonathan S. Greer, John W. Hilber, and John H. Walton. You should know that name, John H. Walton, because I showed you another book from John H. Walton. An excellent book that you guys need to have in your repertoire, okay? So let's scroll down. I'm going to go here. Regions and routes in the Levant, so you guys can understand. So in order for you to understand why certain routes were taken, certain geographical locations were mentioned, there are other things that you need to look at as far as background information to get more details on why they traveled to certain regions, why certain cities were important, etc. Right? It says here, the term Mesopotamia comes from the Septuagint translation of Genesis 24:10, which states that Isaac set out for Aram Naharaim, Aram of the two rivers, right? The word Nahar in Hebrew means rivers, and Ain is dual plural in Hebrew, which means two rivers, right? Aram, which is another eponymous ancestor of the Arameans, Aram of the two rivers, right? This probably refers to the land between the upper Euphrates and the Balak or Habur rivers. It now refers to the relatively flat area through which the Euphrates and Tigris rivers flow. And the drama of the Old Testament, this is the area from which Abraham and Sarah originated and to which first the northern Israel and the southern Israel kingdoms, Judah kingdoms were exiled, and from which the Judeans eventually returned. This area is bounded on the west by the Amanus Mountains and Jebel Zawiye, and on the north by the Malatya Mountains, and on the east by the Zagros Mountains, and on the south by the great Syrian Arabian desert. Life in this area is dominated by the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. Along their banks, irrigation canals brought water into the fields, especially in the area of Hit and Samara. Throughout the area, the annual rainfall is 8 inches or more, and some grain crops could be grown and sheep and goats could be pastured. This was especially the case in the region of the upper Euphrates near Karchemish and Haran. This was the ancestral home of the Aramean tribes and the area which the patriarchs had their roots. Along the northern Tigris, dry farming and pasturage were more common than irrigation. This is important. This was the area which the great Assyrian cities of Nineveh, Nimrud, and Ashur flourished. Although stone from the mountains could be used as building material, the usual building material was mud brick. We see that with the Israelites as well. The material that formed the core of houses, palaces, temples, and walls, right? Both the Tigris Euphrates were used as the lines of communication. The Euphrates in particular was used to transport timber and other goods from the northwest to the southwest. Timbers were floated downstream and other goods placed on wooden barges that were supported by inflated animal skins. Because of the currents and prevailing winds, it was very difficult to sail upstream. Thus, land routes developed that flowed the paths of the rivers. One such route led northward towards Nineveh, and from there northwest through the Malatya Mountains into Anatolia. Another route led from northwest along the bank of the Euphrates towards Mari. From there, one continued northwest to the region of Haran and Karchemish. And remember, it says that they traveled from to Haran. Well, these are the actual routes. And you see the things that are going on. Again, this is why you need a holistic approach to understanding the text, because all of this detailed information gives you further insight into what it is you're reading so you can better understand it within its historical and cultural context. All right. Now check this out. These are all the routes, okay, that you see here on your screen. Let me zoom in some more. All right. Look at these routes here. All right. So we see going from all the way north. All right. You go from to Babylon, Akkad, Hit, to Mari, right? All the way to Ebla, Hamath, Katna, to Aleppo, right? Or you can go this route from to Babylon to Akkad, go to Samara, to Ashur, to Gozan, to Haran, here in the north. So more than likely, this is the route that they took going to Haran. And now this book gives you details on things in these various cities and along these routes, so you can know or put yourself in the shoes of Abraham and his family as they were commuting and as they were traveling. Do you see the importance of this? A lot of these were trade routes because they would go from city to city, and there were other commodities along these routes that accommodated travelers. Okay, people typically traveled in caravans because at night, if you pitch a tent somewhere and you're by yourself, more than likely you could have got beaten up and robbed. All right, so they normally traveled in groups for protection. All right. All right, so let's get to the last book, and I'm done. All right, last book, and I'm done. All right. Oh, facts, free brew. Facts. All right. All right, so look, let's go into this last book, and I'm done with y'all for tonight. All right. Let's get to this last book. All right. Well, I'm gonna show this reference. I'll get to it another time. But where's the book I wanted to show y'all? Hold on, let me pull it up. Here it is. All right. So let me find the page that I was at in this book. This book here is 641 pages. All right. All right. So let's go to what I want to show y'all. This is what I want to show y'all when I was in DMV, but I was unable to. But now I can show it to y'all. All right. All right. Here we go. I want to share this screen and I'm going to show you another book, but I'm not going to read anything of it. But I'm going to show you a book that I'm going to go into another time because I have a lecture coming out where I go into law in the ancient Near East and I deal with law specifically from Kemet Mizraim or Egypt. All right, which is extremely important. But check this book out. All right. For those of you who are into the New Testament, okay, it's page 103. We'll get back to it. Let me show you the name of the book. It's called The World of the New Testament, Cultural, Social, and Historical Context. All right. Here's another book if you're into the New Testament. All right. This one is called The New Testament in Its World, An Introduction to the History, Literature, and Theology of the First Christians by N.T. Wright and Michael F. Bird. You need to get both of these books if you care anything about the New Testament. All right. As well as the other book I showed y'all, The Gospel of Matthew and Judaic Traditions, and The Halakha of Jesus. You need to get these books if you're interested in the New Testament. You need to read these books. Otherwise, you might as well throw the New Testament away because you're not gonna understand anything without these books. Why? Because these books help to culturally reorient you so that when you do read it, you understand what's being said and what's going on. Okay, so I'm just giving you free game. All right, The World of the New Testament. Okay, check this out. All right, shout out to my brother, Kevin G in the building. Kevin G, I don't know why, Sister Cherry always brings me up. I don't know why you're on her panel, my brother. So maybe you want to talk to her on a low about that because you're a regular here. Me and you have good builds. I don't know why she keeps hating. For whatever reason, she keeps hating. She keeps talking about me. There's no need for her to do that. For what? Right? There's really no point for her to do that. All right. All right. Alexander, yes, he does have a workbook. Yes, he does. All right. So let me show you this to y'all real quick, and let me wrap this up. All right, because we're past our time. All right. It's not even a Freestyle Friday. Right. This is page 105. It says Greek religion. Right. So it gives you the background Greek religion that you need to understand in the intertestamental period before understanding what's going on in the New Testament, because the Greeks were on the scene for several hundred years and then the Romans took over. Okay. Now, let me show you this real quick. All right. Now, this gets into what's called a world of gods. All right. A time traveler from the 21st century west visiting ancient Corinth, Ephesus, and Athens would face considerable adjustments, including packed streets, cramped accommodation, and the complete absence of any conveniences of modern life. Electricity, cell phones, prepackaged food, aspirin, list goes on. One item, however, our fictitious tourists would have in abundance: gods. In the ancient Greco-Roman world, gods were everywhere. There were gods for lovers, gods for poets, gods for bakers, gods for farmers, gods for travelers, gods for protecting the hinges on one's door, and many others. An inscription for Corinth mentions the gods of the beehive. Many divinities are known from only a single inscription or an obscure literary reference. Of course, the divine world of the ancient Greek was not a democracy, nor were all gods created equal. Now you have the Olympian deities. I'm not going to get into that. But what I want to get into, you have regional deities, you have heroes, demigods. This word here, daimones. Okay. Another very large group of spiritual beings constituted daimones, or spirits. And Hesiod's writings, Works and Days 105-235, and other ancient sources, daimones were sometimes described as the spirits of great men who died, or even as a circumlocution for the gods themselves, right? The returning of gods themselves, right? It says Plato depicts a daemon as a person's guardian spirit who watches over the individual in life and escorts them to Hades at death. And remember, I told you about Shedim, and in Syrian culture, it's the word sedu, and it talks about the protecting spirit or the bull colossus. Well, there are spirits that are guardian spirits that watch over people. We get this from Tehillim chapter 91, where it says that he will send messengers to guard your ways. When Hashatan, or the adversary, was speaking to Yeshua, he told him to invoke these tutelary spirits and throw himself down to see these spirits will lift him up so his foot will not dash against a stone. These are the spirits that most people have watching them, which people call guardian angels. No, they're not guardian angels. They're tutelary spirits that are assigned to you according to Tehillim or Psalm chapter 91, right? Those who are in the abode of the Most High, that's in his shadow, you have these benefits, okay? But when we go into demons, we're looking at it during the transitional period, the intertestamental period from the Greeks to see this term, this usage of the term, and then it finds its way into the Greek New Testament. However, when we go back and look at it in the Syriac, it's something very interesting, okay? But let's go back into this, or the Septuagint, right? It says in the Hellenistic period, the daimones were conceived as intermediary spiritual powers of either a benevolent or malevolent nature. They populated earth in great numbers and could be called on for help or to cause harm to an enemy. The daimones were increasingly perceived as unpredictable and dangerous, and they figured prominently in popular superstition. The common view of Plutarch's day was that a daemon was the most harmful being in the universe. In the New Testament and early Christian literature, the daimones was always described negatively as evil spirits or demons. Philo, Paul's Jewish contemporary in Alexandria, looks at the multitude of deities and intermediary beings of Greek religion and reasons what the Gentiles call gods, the sacred word calls angels. Other Jewish writers, such as the author of First Enoch and the Apostle Paul, are less generous. They say that the gods of the Gentiles are demons or these spirits, right? Then it goes into public expression, religion, temple, and cult. And I told y'all about the Aphrodite temple in Corinth. And when Paul was talking about that your body is the temple of the Ruach, it's because people were engaging in porneia, which is the selling off of their bodies as sacred prostitutes, and people were engaging them and patronizing them because this temple to Aphrodite was there in that region, and there was competition between the secular believers and the believers that were writing to Paul to address these issues that they were having within their congregation. Again, when you read books like this, it gives you the larger background, historical and cultural context. So now when you jump in the text, you have all this additional insight to properly interpret what you're reading. This is called hermeneutics or proper midrash, right? This is how you exegete the text. All right. Okay. So with that, I think I'm done, but I'm going to show you one last reference. I'm going to show you one last reference that I'm going to get into at another time, and I plan to do a lecture on it very soon. All right. But I want you guys to see this because it's extremely important, because people talk about the law, statute, commandments, but what they need to be made aware is there was laws in other cultures as well. The differences is what you look at. There's similar codes of law that the Israelites had with other groups, and they were distinct codes of law. But until you study the laws of other cultures, other empires, other dynasties, other groups, you're not going to know that which is unique to Israel and why it was unique to Israel, and then why Israel shared other codes of law with other groups. I'm going to get into that in this lecture, and I'm also going to break down the laws in ancient Kemet. Not the 42 laws of Ma'at, but people say, no, those are not laws that was in the land. Those were confessions that you make to the deities and the duat after you die so you can make it into the field of heavenly reeds, okay? Profession that you make. And they lie making these professions because their heart is weighed. Because if they told the truth, their heart wouldn't be weighed on the scales of Ma'at. But they lie, so that way they weigh them on the scales of Ma'at, and depending upon where your heart lies, you either get eaten by a mit, which is an alligator hybrid deity, or you get a passage into the field of heavenly reeds, and your vocative offerings, or offering that was given to the deity by means of statuettes, are now, when you go into the afterlife, these pharaohs and the suits, they're able to recall those statuettes to be their servants in the afterlife. And we see that in the Pre-Em Heru, or the book of Going Forth by Day, or some people call the Book of the Dead. All right. All right. I think I said a mouthful. I think I'm done for now. All right. Sister Alexandria Henderson. Sis, excellent question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you of a lecture series that I would like for you to watch, so you can, again, get reoriented, right? So you can understand what it is that I'm talking about, right? The name of this series is called El Shaddai, Yod He Waf He, El Elyon, three of a kind, or one and the same. We'll be going to Psalm 82, and we go into other passages that talk about the divine counsel and everything like that. This is an invaluable lecture that I'm sure that you will appreciate, sis. So I'm going to drop it right here in the chat. All right, that's the link to it right there. So Sister Alexandria Henderson, please click the link in the chat. save the link, right, in your playlist and go back and take your time. It's 4 parts. Check it out. You said you started it today. Okay, cool. So if you started it, just work it all the way to part 4, and it should answer any of your questions in regards to Psalm 82, henotheism, or anything along those lines. All right. All right. So Stacks, yes, my brother, you said any sources for visual learners. Give me a reference. What kind of source are you referring to? Because if I have one, I'll let y'all know, or you can email me and I'll send it to you. All right. When you say visual learners, let me know, because a lot of the books I shared all have pictures and images and graphs and charts and everything in the books that I share. Right. For those who want to learn visually. Right. Sagging. Jetson Silencio. I don't know what you mean when you say sagging. Explain what that means. I don't know what that means. I have no clue what that means. My Lam Malak Ben Yasharallah, that's going to be another lecture series another series like Death to Dogma. Death to Dogma actually deals with church dogmas and the presuppositions of church dogmas and the providence of church dogmas and how a lot of these church dogmas are unbiblically founded. Okay. And then when we deal with the statute, laws, commandments, that's a separate series, which we're going to go into each one of them and let you know which ones are still applicable today, which ones are not applicable today, and give you the historical, cultural, linguistical context behind these statute, laws, commandments, so you know the corpus of the ones that can be applied today. These works we've done, like the Mishneh Torah by Rambam and others, that have created these smaller compendiums or collated compendiums of these of the Talmud, where they're extracting the oral tradition as well as statute, laws, commandments and putting it in a more concise book, so it's easy for laymen to capture these things and apply it to the life. So Rambam was really the one who actually put forth this nomenclature of 613, or this numerical application to 613. I don't see they're at 613 negative and positive. I just see them as statute, laws, and commandments, generally speaking. And the most important thing is which ones are still applicable today and which ones we cannot do today, but were restored when we are regathered and resituated back into the land, because the law is going to go back out from Zion, right? The Levitical priest is going to be restored. Tabernacle is going to be done. All right. These things are going to be restored back. Sabbaths and new moons are all going to be done for a period of time, which we call the millennial reign, until the consummation of time occurs and we are ushered into eternity. All right. So these are the things that Christians don't like, but I mean, it is what it is. All right. Carla Thompson says, can you get books in large print? I'm not sure, sis. If you go to Amazon, they may have some, but a lot of books I shared, I don't think they come in large print. However, if you have a computer, you can always zoom in and check it out, you know, in larger print. Just zoom in and it'll be much bigger. Or you may have to use a magnifying glass with these books with smaller print, right? And there's different kinds of ingenious magnifying glasses that have lights and that have optics that doesn't affect your vision that you can put onto the book and scale up and down that will increase the font for you. All right. So these things do exist. And you can look into that. All right. Yes, Alexandria, I will be in Houston next month. That's my goal. I've not been in Austin. I was in Dallas. The next stop is Houston. But I don't know about Austin. So what you can do, sis, just like I request everybody else to do earlier in this video, is download the app, the My One Church app. Install it, go into the zip code, type 30064, click on the Kingdom Harbinger Ministries entry, and then on the upper left side, there are three horizontal lines. Click on that. That'll expand a submenu. Click on Forms, then click Membership Details. All these steps I'm saying, you can go back to the replay and take it step by step. And if you go there, you can enter Membership Details, right? That way we can see where everybody is at that follows this ministry. So that way we can plan our next chapters accordingly. All right. So everybody, please go to your Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, right? Download the My One Church app, install it. In the zip code portion, type 30064. Click on the Kingdom Harbinger Ministries entry that appears. And then from there, you're in our app. You're going to click on the upper left where there's three horizontal lines. Click on that. There's a group section that you can click on if you want to sign up for our services. or be part of our affiliate program or our consultant program for Jubilee May Mission or Natural Path to Eden. And then we have a form section that you can click on, then click membership details, enter in your information so we can log you into our system. And we can use this so we can push out notifications directly to your phone. We can send you emails, text messages if you want text messages. You can follow along with the lectures by way of the sermons entry that's in that link there, so you can click on it. So as I'm doing a lecture, you'll see all the notes that align with the things that I'm saying, so that way you can follow along with what we're doing. And we'll have all those available on the app. The app is going to centralize everything, and it's going to put everything in one place. Okay. All right. So New Hope says the app is very easy to use. He did it earlier. Yes, I appreciate that. All right. Yes, my moderators they're the truth, man. My moderators are the truth. I vetted each and every one of them, and they're on their game, their A game all the time in here. All right. All right. So let me answer this last question. I'm out before we hit 3 hours. Foolish World 75 says, Shalom, Brother Divine. I watched your video with Polite and Sinetta about 5 years ago, and you mentioned a timeline you have on specific events that occurred with the Israelites. Do you have books on it? Timeline. I have a timeline. Matter of fact, I gave it out before. If you want that timeline, email me, or I'll throw it on a Patreon too, but just email me, Foolish World 75, so I can find it and I can give it to you. But yes, I do have a timeline. Yes, I have shared it in a past lecture. I've shared it. I think it was the lecture that's called Crows on a Straw Man. I shared the timeline in that lecture. Okay, so if interested, let me know. All right, and I'll hook you up. All right, family. So let me get up out of here before we hit 3 hours, man. Jetson Silencio says, burning sage a part of Israel's culture? No, it's not. It's not part of Israel's culture. All right. The text explains with items were burned for incense and for other purposes, and sage was not one of them. Okay. Typically today people burn what's called white sage. And a lot of sage burning comes from Native American culture. We don't find a lot of that happening in the ancient Near East. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all for being here. Everybody hit the thumbs up on your way out. Hit the subscribe button on the way out and hit the share button. All right. Shout out to everybody that just signed up for our Patreon. Everybody that donated in here. I appreciate that. Those of you who are concerned in regards to your credit score and you want to be able to repair your credit, you want to be able to eliminate debt, go back and check out the video on this channel right before this one. Listen to the lecture that I give, as well as the links that are in the description. If you want to get into health, naturopathic health, listen to the latter part of that same lecture. And in the description, I have a link to 3 different reference guides that you can get that breaks down everything you need to know about naturopathic health and wellness. All right. Again, all free game based on all the donations we receive for you guys. We've tried to throw excellent chapter launches. Right. We try to give back to the community the way that we can. And we do our best to give giveaways. Just like I said, in our Patreon, those who sign up for our Patreon, you're automatically eligible and entered into a lottery for a $210 giveaway. All right. That we're just going to give you cash. We're going to shoot it right to your PayPal or to your Cash App just for patronizing us and helping us meet our quota in regards to our Patreon. All right. We're trying to get this information to as many people as possible. And in return, we're asking for your prayers, for sharing it, for sweat equity. The brother brought this up in one of the event that we had this past weekend. If you want to labor and assist the ministry, download the app, enter your information, let's capture your data, and let's do this collectively so we can change the paradigm in our community and get our people in alignment with Yah, so we can awaken the dry bones and we can become autonomous as a way to have breathing room until we're redeemed out of this captivity. All right. We cannot sit and wait around, twiddle our thumbs. There's too much work to do. We have to light unto the nations. We have to seek the peace of the city and the advance of the Most High, so that in its peace we can have peace. And if your city don't have peace, it's because you're not on the front lines. And all KHM is trying to do is be that impetus for you to accomplish that goal. All right. So I love you, family. Thank you so much. Y'all have an excellent night. Erev Tov, which is good evening, or Leila Tov, which is good night. Thank you for watching. Please, again, hit that thumbs up, share this video, and rock with us until again, we're going live again on Friday. I'll try to put some more content on the channel before then. However, if you're signed up for the Patreon, you know it's the after party 24/7, 365, and all of these books I just referenced will be on the Patreon, or you could just email us and we got you. All right, family. So I love you, family. Until we meet again, peace and shalom. Shalom.